We've got the best seats way up high, where the egos fall and the jokes can fly. We've seen it all, the triumphs, the flops, and we'll clap real slow when the curtain drops. We love the drama, crave the show, but darling, someone's gotta let them know. We're two snarky gay bitches, serving truth from the stars, with a wink, a drink, and no filter at all. From curtain rise to curtain call, we'll roast your face, we'll drag them all. Two snarky gay bitches, and we're having a ball. Your monologue's tragic, your timing's a wreck, your costume's screaming, ooh, cut the check. But don't be bitter, we tease with love, we heckle like angels from up above. We're not mean, we're just observant, seasoned, shady, and a bit subversive. If honesty hurts, then fetch the gauze. We're critics, darling, not Santa Claus. We're two snarky gay bitches, high on sass and applause. When the spotlight fades, we'll still steal the cause. So if you're brave, come take the stage, but don't act shocked when we engage. Two snarky gay bitches. Cue the laughter, cue the claws.
Welcome, everyone, back to your favorite cubbyhole on the internet. Happy New Year's Day to you all. And as the intro suggests, gosh, I'm off to a start already. Yes, we didn't get much sleep. Yes, the sinuses are pissed off. The body is tired. We didn't get all the things we needed because that's what holidays with fireworks tend to do to me. But yes, as the intro suggests, there are, in fact, two snarky gay bitches this evening. And just to prove it to you, here's the party of the second part. Everybody's favorite Jeep Daddy. Welcome back, sir.
Hi. Hello, Echoes. Hello, everybody.
You're upright. You're
I
functional.
am.
I think you might be more functional than I am, or at least I feel right now. I feel a
I,
little poorly today.
as I've told
The
somebody
hanky
else in
isn't
my
here.
life, I feel so much like a zombie today because I did not get home until about 3:15 in the morning.
Sweet Jesus.
Yeah,
I would probably feel sick if I had joined you on that soiree,
probably.
which
It's
would not
like,
put me in a good place for work tomorrow.
or
So
for a week, maybe.
I'll take my lumps and stick with what I've got to work with right now.
Yes.
Oh, I promise, Alex, we will be making fun of Laura Owens. I promise. And not only will we be referencing Laura Owens at some point, we'll also be referencing the What the Hales case with Jeremy Hales and all the other assorted characters that circle that cesspool we know as the What the Hales anti-media ecosystem. So it's going to be a multifaceted subject. And as the thumbnail suggests, and as the show notes suggest, we're talking a bit about my detractors today. A subject that even Jeep Daddy is slightly familiar with. Is that a fair term, slightly familiar?
Slightly, and I think I'm a
Intimately
little.
familiar. I don't know.
Well,
You're at least in
I
the inner
am.
sanctum.
I know more about these detractors than I do
Laura
the
Owens?
whole Laura Owens saga, and I have been on how many live streams with you now with the Laura thing, and
A lot.
well, a
Well,
lot.
I
And
mean,
I'm
you're a newbie
enough.
compared to others, so it's not
Yes,
that much.
yes, but the detractors conversation I'm pretty familiar with.
Yes. Jeep Daddy has seen photographic evidence.
I
which
have.
which well, it hasn't quite turned into legal filings yet, but that day may come. And that's why I've been reticent to say a whole lot, because when things in real life can turn into real litigation about your real life and your work and all those other things, you want to be careful. You don't want to lay all your cards out on the table. Especially don't want to name names and places and give away too much, because you want to preserve some of that for the record. And, you want to put things where they belong and not just parade them out the way Lynette Preston and the What the Hales media ecosystem does. And they have built like a whole YouTube empires of just, well, in the opinion of at least Jeremy Hales and all that follow that case, a whole system of defamation, tortious interference, and a bunch of mess. Stuff that is resulting in, I believe, 10 federal cases. So when it gets to me personally, I'm a little bit more shy about just airing all my grievances so readily without either having a lawyer ready to, cover for me or being prepared should people try to come after me. And in some aspects, people have come after me. And that's why I call them my detractors. Now they have done similar things that, the Hales kooks, the fleas and all those people. I'm not going to remember all the names because I haven't watched one recently. I was just about to watch Megan Fox and Tug talk about it this evening. And then Jeep Daddy entered the studio and we were chit-chatting as we tend to do. We tend to do before we go on. So,
and even after we go on,
it could go on for
some of the
for 2
commentary,
hours more sometimes.
So
after a 3-hour live, we could go for a few more hours. It just happens.
It's been known to happen.
So this subject this evening is about the breadcrumbs I have dropped, sometimes intentionally, sometimes slightly accidentally, talking about my detractors and some of the real life situations of people trying to ruin my reputation, my employment opportunities, and essentially just try to do to me what some other slightly less scrupulous people are trying to do to Jeremy Hales. So there are some real world connections here, and it's why I think, in part, I'm attracted to these cases, because you've got insane people engaging in nefarious conduct because they don't like somebody, and with little reason to do that. I mean, what do I say? It's like, what do I say? So we're going to cover some of that. We're also going to talk about, and I've got some of this pulled up ready to go, some of the things that social media platforms use, ways you can be smarter and more savvy about protecting yourself online. Because let's face it, folks, the internet is the almost unregulated Wild West. And people get rather comfortable behind their keyboards, whether they use their real names, whether they don't use their real names. And when they've got a vendetta, they will do stupid things in plain view. And it's ripe picking for law enforcement. And I've got some of those kinds of things in my real life. It's very meta, not to use a corporate name. But it is. That's why they chose that corporate name, folks. We're talking about real life. So there's all those kinds of things. So where do I want to go with this is sort of the question. And again, I'm going to be a little bit careful. I'm not going to mention names. I'm not going to get too deeply involved in the specifics and sharing all of the specific details, because I want to preserve some of that for potential litigation. But there are some things about my story that I can share. And what better place to start than at the very beginning? Which, much to Jeep Daddy's horror, will bring us back to a Mormon context.
Oh, good God. You did not tell me about this part.
I know. See, I can't tell you everything.
Well, that's why I sit here and drink and just react at some point, as I want to do.
Yes, you should, Bruce. You should make a drama tips and tricks videos. This is sort of loose self-help in not so Laura Owens fashion here, at least for this evening. This is going to be kind of a chill evening. We may get to some Laura Owens stuff specifically. We may not. That depends on how well this goes and how much Jeep Daddy has to prevent me from inserting my foot in my own mouth. So there's also that too.
I don't know. When you put your foot in your
Mormons
mouth
are not after me yet. And if they were to try, they would regret it too. just as would my detractors. But they've tried to come after me. They have. So let's
Well,
talk about the beginning.
even
Oh, go
just
ahead.
well, just even first of all, one, you putting your foot in your mouth is highly entertaining for me, so I may or may not stop you. Secondly, um,
Well,
the Mormons kind of sort of did come after you in a way. If you recall a stream some weeks ago,
which one?
um, it was, I don't remember the title of it, but after the after party final act was you torturing me with some
Oh,
Jubilee
yes.
things,
Oh,
and it
yes.
was
And getting
determined to
stricken.
be, yes, it was determined to be a
Stricken by
Mormon
LDS affiliate
thing.
US for talking about a
Yes,
Jubilee episode. And
yeah,
I gave the recap on that. It was dismissed rather quickly. Not to my
that's
surprise.
good. Yeah,
Not to my
but
surprise. Yeah.
that kind of just like, Bruce, it's sort of like, yeah, a little bit, but like most former
But they're
Mormons who are
bots.
outspoken and and are on public media platforms like this, the church has a watchful eye. There's a reason
The
why they have a
all-seeing eye of
fleet
the
of
Mormon Church.
attorneys. Yes, they have a fleet of
Well,
attorneys. It's incredible.
they have an entire enormous. Well, they have their own legal department that's enormous, but then they
Yes.
have a private firm located, I
Hmm.
think, less than a block away from Salt Lake City headquarters. I
Hmm.
forget all the cross streets. They've got an entire firm that's a several-story legal office building that they also hire to do some of their, what some might say is their unsavory conduct of telling leaders in the Mormon Church not to report incidences of child SA, shall we say.
Yes.
And they've got an entire hotline that leaders of the Mormon Church will call, and they will look up where that leader's calling from and all these other things and say, well, you don't really have to report this incident. And it's very questionable legally, in my opinion.
It's
Now,
all
they may be
about
technically
protecting the
right
church
that
and not
certain,
protecting about the
yes,
victims.
it's all about protecting the institution. And I take some
Correct.
umbrage and exception to that. Umbrage. But anyhow, he's saying, well, what's Mormonism have to do with my detractors? And where I was going to start was in how Mormon culture no, Mormon culture requires a certain pussification, shall we say, of its adherents. You are taught to be obedient to the system and institutions and people over you without question.
Yeah.
And that, of course, that kind of structure, some people refer to it as high control patriarchal structures. There's other descriptors that can apply. When one leaves that kind of structure, it makes you vulnerable to more nasty-minded people in the real world, shall we say. And typically speaking, while I can be very outspoken, I would say my outspokenness is an adult development in life rather than something I've always been. I was extraordinarily quiet for much of my young adulthood. I didn't speak unless spoken to, and when I was spoken to and was required to give a response, I was usually particularly reticent
I
because
can't
you don't want to say
imagine
the wrong
Echoes
things.
being demure and quiet, but
I know it's not shocking. Did you
please
have that
continue.
same metamorphosis of you were just so quiet and beat down being a Mormon adherent, or were you
I
always
just, yeah, I mean, no, I was absolutely quiet as well. I was very much the stay quiet, stay small, stay unnoticed, sort of things. Yeah, because it was a matter of life and safety and literal survival. So yeah, of course,
yeah,
I was as good of a Mormon boy as I could be back then.
human tendencies tend to kick in just to function. While you're supposed to screw on a smile and tell the world how happy you are being part of that very controlling culture and environment.
Yes.
So that's where it starts for me. And as I have learned, as the internet has been more and more out of control, you will never hear me say that I object to free speech because it protects everybody. Despite perhaps some of my left-leaning inclinations, I am a big free speech component, and that's why we're here. That's why we have this channel, and that's why there's a certain degree of success, I think, here. We've been steadily growing. I mean, each episode, a few dozen more people join the ranks here in the the cubby hole. I'm going to have to expand the walls, and I don't know how I'm going to do that. We don't have much room here. It's pretty close quarters right here.
Little itty bitty.
The cubby hole is going to need a remodel, and we're growing, and we're damn close. We're getting damn close to 1K.
So close.
Or I'm trying to push it over the edge. And we're not there yet, but, I think in due course. So with that sort of vulnerability in the real world and being online and the way the internet has evolved, it subjects one to being a target. I can remember growing up on the internet when it was still very fresh, a very new, a very naive internet where scams were becoming a thing, bank fraud, banking scams were a thing. In my 20s, let's just say I fell for a bank scam because it was a new thing. And that created quite a bit of consternation in my my private life and in my finances for a brief period of time, getting accounts transferred and closed and shut down and things blocked and this, that, and the other. The internet has continued that tradition of exploitation. And you have to be extraordinarily brave and quite savvy to be on the internet, even just, and this is not to minimize, but even just on innocent social media, Twitter, X, Facebook, and so forth. So one has to know a little bit about human psychology, and not everybody on the internet is a good person. In fact, as Laura Owens has proved... What? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, not everybody on the internet is exactly who they say they are, or a good person with good intent, just like we were taught back in the day. No.
Oh, and I forgot to click something. Okay, there we go. I keep forgetting to put the comments on the stage. It's just, StreamYard, why can't you help me out and just retain what I want? Darn it. I pay for this damn service. I want it to do what I'm thinking. Read my mind, AI overlords. Oh, yes, thank you, Miss Demeanor OG. Freedom of speech, even more valuable these days. And it's so true. And free speech has limits, but we'll get to that in a minute. Where was I at? I see I'm derailing myself. This is what happens when I get 5.5 hours of sleep. I derail myself better when I have more sleep.
Well, it's much more fun for me to derail you, but I can't do that too much because I'm also sleep deprived. Anyway, you were something about the Mormons turned you into a pussy.
Oh, yeah. Just certain ways of growing up and certain ways of viewing the world can make you vulnerable to unscrupulous and, dare I say, criminally minded people. And I would say we could see, and I don't know all of their backgrounds, so let me preface that. We can see that sort of genuine niceness by the men and other people that Laura Owens has exploited. As human beings, I think we typically want to give people the benefit of the doubt that they're decent people and they're not out to get us. But the reality of the world is otherwise. There are people out there that are awful people. Could be criminally minded people. They may have criminal history, and they could very well be out to get you. And there are some of those that exist in my recent private and work life. Am I segueing okay?
You're doing just fine.
Okay. If it doesn't make sense, tell me, because,
I think one of the things I like to say is, and I've talked about this in my own personal life and in my own therapy sessions, is that you're kind of trained and cultured to be slightly trusting and like if you are within a circle, so like a doctor or a lawyer or other like high grade professional, because of the way that the culture brings you up, you are sort of taught to intrinsically trust. And there's a certain innocence and kind of nicety about that, because like if we look at young children and the way that they will just interact with other kids without bias and without restriction, I mean, that's kind of why a lot of people say that things like racism and other things it's a learned behavior rather than the way that we are, because like kids do generally want to interact with and are just curious about others rather than seeing them as a threat. And so that is sort of perpetuated into adulthood. Like if like the culture really with the Mormons can be, let's say that I'm looking for a roofer to do the roof on my house. The encouragement is going to go and look for somebody inside of the Mormon culture to do that. And I'm going to just trust that they are going to do the best job for the best price without questioning them, because that's what we're sort of taught to do, is we're always taught to deal honestly and fairly with our fellow man. And that breeds this naivety that really puts us up for, it's like potential risk.
And to my detriment, that nicety turned into I would shut down when someone with more power and more aggressive personality would try and take over. And so that would leave me even more vulnerable to just, rather than defending myself, I suppose, I would just sort of let it go. Turn the other cheek, as many religion often tells us, oh, don't put up a fight, just turn the other cheek and just take it on the chin.
Right.
So, and that leads you to being set up if you aren't careful and if you aren't aware that, don't take everything as gospel. Everything you see can be taken with a grain of salt. And unless you know someone personally, be careful. Be careful what you reveal. Be careful what you share about yourself. And be careful who and how you trust, because that can be exploited. Mm-hmm. Anyone who's been on social media, let's just say Facebook, for any amount of time, if you've entered the fray of political discourse on any number of places, you'll find very quickly that there are a number of lunatics who within 5 minutes of interacting with you in some thread will dox your location, dox your phone number, dox your places of work, and then often, in my experience, accuse you of being some sort of criminal, often a PDF file, shall we say. I've had that happen so many times, I'm just kind of over it. So, and I have no criminal history, folks, other than, maybe a moving violation and a parking ticket when I was younger in my 20s, just for not being attentive. That's all I've got against me. I have not committed any crimes. I have not committed any fraud. I'm a fairly good upstanding citizen, which, at rounding the age to 50 or cresting the hill towards 50 years of age, I think that's not bad. That's not bad once I get to half a century, right?
I would say so.
Little pat on the back for me for being an upstanding citizen.
You just want to be told you're such a good boy.
Yes, I do. I yearn for approval.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes.
See, I'm glad you picked up on that.
You're welcome. That's what I'm here for.
So how does this lead us into my detractors? Oh, Bruce says, instructions unclear. AI robot stuck in ceiling fan. I think the AI robot might be the ceiling fan. Take it apart and find out. Right. If you see more than coils of wire, be suspicious, unless it's microcontroller operated. And even then, I would say microcontrollers, especially if they have listening devices and are on the Internet of Things, be a little bit suspicious of. What would you say to that, Mr. IT? IT security. See, Brad took IT goatee. You could be IT security guy.
I mean, I may have already a business name picked out for the security aspects of it, which I'm.
You can neither confirm nor deny.
There's no reveal here tonight on that.
Okay, you can reveal to me later backstage.
The name of my channel, Off-Road Entropy, that like the entropy component of this here, that isn't by design as a technological and or security type terminology. So yes, my worlds blend.
You don't use the word synergy, do you?
Only in certain
That's
business
very
meetings
early
when
2000s.
It is, and sadly, I work for a bunch of asshats that I do need to use that word from time to time.
Bunch of boomers.
No, but people who are indoctrinated into the boomer mentality.
Bravo for you, Bruce. Sometimes I think old tech can be better tech. But with what I do professionally, I would probably say that anyhow. Even though there are elements of high tech involved, although fundamentally, it's very old tech. It's very 16th century tech, even. Well, we could go back further. We could say 2,500 years tech.
Some of the oldest machines in the planet that were ever invented.
Yes. And across multicultural lines in certain parts of Europe and Africa. Yes. Okay, but anyway. Let's not get ahead of ourselves just yet.
Yes.
So how does this transition to detractors and internet safety and all those kinds of things? Well, let me tell you a little more of the story, a little bit more linearly about my detractors and how some of that came about. And you know what? If I'm really smart, I will actually pull up some of my slides. Not that you'll get to see them, chat. Don't get excited, because I didn't have time to redact things sufficiently enough to actually have visual aids this evening. So you're going to have to take my word that I am in fact reading off of a screen and very carefully, selectively editing as I go through. Because, you know, in the real world, I do post about these things. And if you're lucky enough to know who I am in the real world and actually follow me very closely in very closely guarded circles in the real world, you might know something about these sorts of things. But I'm not going to reveal everything to you. Good evening, Batty. How are you? Slide night. I'm not sure what slides we're talking, but, you know, we're certainly sliding along a different topic of sorts, but it does have tangents to what the Hales and Laura Owens that we've made already. It's amazing how things cross-pollinate. And that's probably why I'm attracted to talking about the cases. But I don't digress, but I repeat myself yet again. So in the fields in which I work, which I'll say is a specific and niche category of music performance in specific community settings. And I work two jobs that sit on either side of that very niche music performance aspect. One of those aspects is a performance aspect, and the other aspect is a maintenance and construction aspect. So I get to I get to have double helpings from both sides, don't I?
You do.
And given your proclivities, or shall I say non-proclivities, sir, you snicker at some of those things.
Let's just say I know too much.
Well, you know, we all have lived experience. Some people have been able to just put a pin in things and say, all right, close the door on that. Let's leave that in the past and call it done. But because I draw a living from these things, you know, I'm kind of caught there until such time as I either age out or the market ability for both forces me into plan B for a career.
Yeah.
Which I do have. I won't say it's on the back burner, but I've got ideas if I need them. I don't like the idea of going back to school and having student loans again, but if necessary, there are ways and means. And the university in this area is pretty good for where I would probably go into. But then I would become another Lauren Knighty and then some. And you know, I love Lauren. This is not a dig on Lauren. We don't need multiple people talking about Laura Owens the way only Lauren Knighty can, because Lauren is amazing. And her perspective and her professional experience that informs her opinions is superlative. And I would absolutely hate to compete with that. And if I were to go and, shall we say, practice, I would have less opportunity to talk about that for obvious reasons. Because you're not supposed to remote diagnose people. And the temptation would be too great to be remote diagnosing Laura Owens.
I mean,
As a layman, I can make opinions and speculations all the goddamn time I want. But as someone that may practice professionally in that arena, you've got to be a little bit more mindful. Just as all of our brilliant minds like Omar and Rachel Juarez and MG Law and Runkle of the Bailey, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I know there's more.
right.
Just as they're careful as practicing
Education
attorneys.
purposes only. And
That's right. And, you know, when they make a legal opinion, they're very careful in how they frame that. Mm-hmm. You don't quite have quite so much latitude in certain areas of, I'll just say, psychologic practice. You know, that's the thing with medicine. It's a little bit more tightly regulated about, you know, making educated and professional opinions. There are ways to do that, as we've seen on law tubes and other places. There are people that have found those ways that won't get them into trouble with regulating and licensing authorities. But it becomes more difficult, and it's a challenge. And it's, you know, this is something I think about as my life goes on and I evaluate how much more sustainable my current line of work is at the present.
Well, I think that's a very common thing, right? Of like evaluating where you are in life. Anybody does this where you are in life. The more that you the more wealth that you potentially build, and like that just increases the risk profile that you have around decisions you make. Like when I was 18,
Yes.
19 years old, I didn't give a shit about stuff. Like, let's go and like throw fireworks off the back of some ratty ass pickup truck going, 60 miles an
You
hour
did not.
I might have been a driver. I don't know, maybe, but
You can neither
allegedly,
confirm nor
supposedly.
deny.
Um, and like we didn't agree with one of my friends didn't agree with a stop sign that was posted somewhere, and so that might have disappeared somewhere. I don't know. That's just a story that I heard somewhere. Would I do that today? Fuck no, because I have
Smart.
way more to lose now than I do when I was a dipshit kid.
And
And it's
that's
fine. It's
and
learning,
that's what
but
we realize as we mature, isn't it?
yes,
Especially when we start, putting money away for retirement and savings and trying to have life goals and plans,
yeah,
which dare I say,
priorities changed.
even people younger, some of them are savvy enough to have figured that out. Many of
Yes.
them, including most of my detractors, I will add, have not.
Yep.
Many of them have not grown up, and most of them still come from a place of entitlement and immaturity.
Mhm.
And I would say most, at least the top 2 or 3 of my detractors, have either some sort of personality disorder, in my opinion, mood disorders, a combination of both, or a number of other secret blend of herbs and spices that, if they continue on, will surely get them into legal trouble. Just because how they've
Mhm.
decided to come after me with whatever it is that's pissing them off, rather than say, you know what, okay, he's nobody important, forget it. So back to the story. Should we get back to the story?
Let's get back to the story.
Where did I leave off the story? Shitballs. See, it's not good when I can't remember where we leave off.
Something about your employment and
Oh,
in
employments, yes.
teachings. Yes.
Oh, and Batty and Misdemeanor have been sort of, throwing out fishing lines. No, it's not ukulele, but it could be. Although that's a ukulele children's parties. It could be honking the nose of a clown. Kazoo, an interpretive dance for senior citizens. Okay, I won't tell anyone. Yeah, please don't.
Thank you for keeping that secret safe.
My
Gosh,
my kazoo skills are getting a little rusty these days, mostly because of vocal fatigue. Only detractors. They should be A-tractors. They're not. They're not. Not by a long shot.
sadly not. These aren't the type of people that you want tractors towards.
If they were a little more intelligent, a little less impulsive and reactionary, and crossing what I believe to be very clear lines and legal boundaries, maybe they could be attractive. I don't know.
Maybe.
Most of them aren't my type. One, no.
I mean,
No.
there's
Especially with receding hairlines that are very unattractive.
Hey, now just careful. My cul-de-sacs keep
Present
growing.
company
So,
excluded.
well,
Well,
okay,
it's
yeah, good save.
try as
Ass.
people might. We are not an item. I mean, many people have
That is-
tried.
yes, that is-
you two
that is
should
true.
date. You have such interesting. You have such compatible interests in what you. Oh, I shouldn't have started that yet. If you hear noises in the background, chat and replay crew, that is just my white noise dishwasher doing its thing. It's probably getting time to be replaced. I saw another resident here in my building. There was one sitting out on the porch, and I went, "Uh-oh, another one bit the dust. I might be next." So, the joys
Yeah.
of living in property that you don't solely own yourself, but it is what it is. That's city living for you, folks.
It is, but the other side of that coin is not the most glamorous either. When you have to, replace that shit, mostly because of a
everything just
failure.
costs more money.
That can be the devices plus repair if there's a big ass leak and you don't find it, and blah blah blah. Yeah, so
And built-in obsolescence that kicks in after 6 months to maybe a year. I mean, it's just insane.
yeah.
That should be criminal.
Yes, but to your earlier point, yes, there are definitely some people out there that have been on a very very heavy campaign to say that Echoes and I should be in some kind of relationship. We are in a relationship, that being very good friends and family of
And
choice,
that's
if
where
I
it
may be
ends.
so bold.
You may be so bold. You may be
But,
so bold.
And yes, Echoes could do worse as far as
Most certainly.
that. And maybe has done worse based on some of the.
Yeah, yeah. You know,
We're not
it's not a
talking.
secret, folks. It's not a secret, folks. I've made not so wise life choices when someone has fallen in love with me and I've fallen in love with them. And then it turns out they've either got problems as big as Laura Owens but can't get pregnant, or they have substance use issues. But, you know, you live and you learn. And if
Yes.
anything, it's informed me not to be too quick to let people own my affections. That's a good way
Yes.
to put it. That's a
Yeah,
very good way to put it.
that's an excellent way of phrasing it. But
And you're no stranger to such tragedy yourself.
oh yes, yeah, I've made my fair share of really
We all do.
lousy choices and chasing infatuation, and my like there's a couple people, and I mean literally mean just a couple, that could call me up and say like, hey Jeep Daddy, let's get married.
Ha!
um Come to San Francisco or Denver or wherever I'm at, and let's do it. And I would probably drop everything and go.
Yeah,
But
I think I know who they are.
yeah, you do.
Mm.
um and I that but I mean that's life and that's love.
It is. It is. And how horrific and boring life would be without a little spice and a little bit of heartbreak at the same time. But you know, we try to keep it more on the spicy and loving side rather than on the heartbreak side.
Yes.
But you
Yes.
know, you can't have one without the other.
That's just
It's
the way
how
it
we are
is.
made. It is
Yes.
just our carbon based structures that can't help themselves. And if the Vulcans could see us now, oh, you puny little infantile humans with your emotions. There you go. I don't know why I tried to don a German accent for Vulcans, but it is what
Yeah,
it is.
that's not very, yeah, Germans is very schadenfreude,
I don't,
misery at
yeah,
the
I don't know.
misfortune of others, not like logic and reason, but okay.
They are excellent engineers, however. So that's where the connection comes from.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, chat's not quite upset with us yet about rambling on for
No, and I
several
haven't hit any
minutes.
buttons. I haven't had any reason to hit any buttons to see if the levels are a little better with all the sound effects and noises, which was a complaint last time. Yes, I know. Yes, folks, voice mod is a fickle thing. It's a fickle mistress, that voice mod. And full disclosure, no two files are the same dynamic because I didn't produce them, and you've got limited control. So without spending months trying to individually edit them and hope to heaven I can upload them, the Stream Deck voice mod interface is clumsy, and I'm having problems with it refreshing and updating. So I've got stuff I'm trying to load up I can't get to work yet. So we're caught. Maybe it's a Windows 11 fix. I don't know. I'm not there yet. I'm a little terrified to click that button and say, okay, just kick me over to 11 and hope to God that everything works after it's all over.
Oh, well, we need to talk.
I'm sure we will. I'm sure you will chastise me about not having done so already.
I just want to make sure you got current security patches is all, and that's a risk. with
Yeah, we
Windows
stay
10 right
current
now.
on the security. But
all
I'll
right.
probably just do it in some downtime and just brace for impact about the number of things that don't work next time I try and go live, and just pick up the chips that have fallen.
To that, you can just get a Mac and call it a day. But hey,
Well, even that
I've already beat
has
you
an
up on that.
expiration
So.
date. Well, in due course. In due course, one financial catastrophe at a time, if you please.
I may or may not be his partner, but I love spending his money.
Ditto. We still don't have you a house yet. We still don't have you a house.
True.
Yet, but we'll not tell too many tales after school.
Yes. Anyway.
So with the Detractors, to the story of the Detractors.
Yes.
This all begins it began many years ago. Since we set the stage of how we form as people and how we mature and come of age and go into adulthood. This is like a coming of age story.
The influence of the Mormonisms and all that.
It's like a coming of age story. And how it doesn't take long if you spend any time on social media to realize that there are people out to get you, that you will never know who those people are until it happens, for the most part. Yep. Sometimes you might see little clues if you can find other threads of suspicious people behaving poorly and engaging in potentially nefarious conduct. Sometimes it'll come out of the blue. as sometimes happens to me. And with where, and as I've mentioned, I work in a certain subset of music performance and in certain types of communities. It's a very niche, it's a very small community. Most people know who everyone else is. They know who you are by who you work for and who you associate with. But that's not unlike other walks of life, is it, sir, in the IT industry?
Not at all.
Yes, see, so recurring patterns, for sure.
I work for one of the big tech companies out there, and it is the smallest damn world I have ever experienced in my life, especially in
Do,
the infosec world.
do you know Rivals?
Yes,
Do
of
you know?
course.
Of course. Okay. See, even I'm a little bit surprised by that because of just the enormity of such industries. Which,
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it, they're enormous.
Yes. Yeah, they absolutely are.
Multi-billion-dollar a year industries. What is it? Tens or hundreds of whatever it is.
Oh,
Hundreds of billions of dollars.
let's go with trillions. How about that?
Okay, that works.
Yeah.
Domestic products of large countries.
Sure.
Yeah. Gross GDPs.
I don't know. Let's get into economics, and I never really
Okay,
took that.
then
so,
let's.
yeah.
We don't have numbers people on with us tonight so much, so let's not delve into economics.
Yep. So your niche. Everybody
very
knows
niche-
everybody.
Yes,
Cetera.
we talk. We most of us, for the most part, we like socializing on the interwebs. Some of us like sharing tips and tricks and things about what we do in our line of work and sharing that. People like myself and opinionated like myself will call out the fakers and the people who are just biffing it publicly and making a mockery of the profession I'm in. And when you do those sorts of things, you might raise some eyebrows. And if you are dealing with mentally unstable people, you will do more than raise eyebrows. You will garner their ire. And if you say enough that they may find offensive, whether or not it is offensive is a subjective viewpoint, they may find that as just cause to try and ruin your life and try and take your career away from you, if I can get my mouth to work. And they will do everything they can to absolutely ruin you and cancel you. So that's how that's the stage. This is the scene setting. This is the ambiance of this story. So as I have gone about my usual habits on the interwebs of just being who I am, being opinionated, not being too shy about it, because I've learned through therapy over the years, if you never use your voice, if you don't find your authentic self, you will never find that part of you. You will be forever missing that. And you will never have that peace that can be a source of autonomy and power, such as institutions and religions like Mormonism do not want you to have. Is that a fair assessment?
I would thoroughly agree with that.
There we go. So, it's been a practice for me to not be careless, but to express myself. Sometimes bluntly, more bluntly than some people would prefer, and sometimes tongue-in-cheek. And of course, so much social media being in the written form, sometimes sarcasm and tongue-in-cheek gets lost on people rather quickly, even if you use abundant GIFs and pictures and emoticons and what are all those things? What's the difference between an emoticon and emoji? Is there a difference? They're the same thing.
That just shows that you're a Gen Xer ish versus a millennial. It's the same. One could argue that an emoticon is the text or the ASCII version of like a smiley versus the actual little picture thingy.
A smiley versus a picture thingy. That's very descriptive. Okay, I won't tease you for that. He's in good form today, folks. Even if he's sleep deprived like all the rest of us are. Are you being stalked by dramatic musicians? You're not wrong, Bruce. You're not wrong. Dramatic and I want another descriptor, but I want to be careful about that descriptor. Dramatic
spiteful,
and
vindictive, jealous, projecting.
Yeah. That works.
Yeah.
Thank you for filling in the blank.
Yeah. So to the earlier thing about like your comment that you highlighted there, like, yeah, I have friends who I all used to work for at my company. now they have moved subsequently to other companies. And that's how I know
Mm,
people across multiple, what some would assume boundaries and rivals. I now know people across most of the major technological companies that exist out there right now.
that's
And
a
we still
lot.
have brunch from time to time and drink wine and talk shit about our employers and all the things.
Oh, this is a good point by Create Consider Connect 3356. I'm a very trusting person thanks to my very privileged childhood of being surrounded by kind, selfless, caring, helpful, good humans, which hurt me when starting our animal rescue. Oh, that's very interesting.
Oh, hmm.
That's very interesting. Talk about niche industries or just
Yes.
niche patterns of work.
Hmm.
Jeep Daddy would like to adopt a kitty or five,
Maybe.
maybe.
I
Okay,
don't know. Certain
not
family
till you're a
members have
land
been,
baron.
yeah, well, yeah, I need a little bit more space to have my what do they call
Your
pollinators,
catio.
cats. Yeah.
You need a
Well,
catio.
I do.
Yeah. Well,
Because
I
where I
do too,
want to
but I
move
can't
is
have
going
one.
to have other wildlife that would just as soon snack on said cats, and that's not acceptable. So,
Oh, Batty says I found the worst people in wildlife rescue. Not everyone is in it for the animals. I
hmm,
think that could be true in just about any line of work,
yes.
frankly.
Yeah, but I have a special place in my heart for people. Maybe it's not the right term of phrase, but like a special place in my ire for those who neglect and abuse animals, and then kind of like as a very, very close second for those who exploit animals for their own profit and personal gain. I'm all about the YouTubers and TikTokers that are going to like introduce animals as though it's like a virtual or digital zoo of like, here's a
Oh,
cool leopard or whatever. But like, if you're just doing this animal rescue thing for your own gain and you wouldn't do it otherwise unless you're getting the clicks and things from the Instagrams, then you can go fuck yourself and you don't deserve those animals and you need to like go figure out some life shit.
yeah, yeah. There could be a lot of stuff to uncover in that kind of personality.
Yes.
My
And
goodness.
for those that abuse animals and neglect them and will drop them off, etc., on that class of things, well, somewhere in these trees is where you belong.
With Sasquatch,
With the Sam Squatch, and
Sam
you know,
Squatch.
you just never need to be heard from again.
Did you see a Sam Squatch out in the wee hours of New Year's Eve or day?
Sadly not.
Still
Sadly
no big
not. No.
footprints.
Still
That's
on
a
the
pity.
lookout. Still on the
That's a
lookout.
pity. Oh, well, keep that GoPro honed and the lens cleaned. You never know when you'll catch it.
Just never know.
In which case,
Yes.
you might be famous and wealthy beyond the dreams of avarice.
Oh, I could quit my day job and go do things I actually like doing. Don't threaten me with a good time, you
I
ass.
know. I know. Well, what else am I here for?
To tell and regale your stories.
To regale my stories.
Yes.
So, with returning to that story, let me take you back to about 2024, where a key figure, there is a very key figure in all of my detractors, who is based in the state of New York. I will reveal that much. I won't reveal a name specifically, but they are a resident of New York. And no, it's not Megan Fox. So I'm going to be very, very clear about that. Actually, Megan probably would be one of my biggest allies. And I have this fantasy. I'll just share it now because I'm in a digression mode with so little sleep. I was thinking that if the shit really hit the fan and I needed some legal reference in the state of New York, Megan's sister is a licensed attorney in New York and has appeared with Megan talking about Laura Owens and some other stuff. And I thought, well, if push comes to shove, maybe Megan would help me out and put me in touch with her sister, who maybe at least could get me a referral for an attorney in New York that could help me deal with residents of New York. So there has been sort of a fantasy element to that. I'll be honest and just admit that. There hasn't been need to just yet, but I keep that in the back of my head. Should things continue to devolve? Sister Stephanie, yes. Well, or is it cousin Stephanie to you, Alex? Is that right? Hopefully I'm not telling family stories out of school, but yes. And Stephanie seems to be a brilliant lawyer. I've certainly enjoyed her opinions on Laura Owens whenever Megan Fox has brought her on her channel to talk about it. So cousin Alex, cousin Stephanie, it's all part of family systems. I love it. So that was one thing I had considered. But my principal detractor has been a resident of New York and not far from a major metropolitan area of New York. I won't say specifically where because it is not New York City, although they do work in New York City and other Long Island related areas, but that's about as much as I should say. And this individual, it is a he, so we can even use gender. He has seen fit back in 2024 when I made some comments about activities he posted online that I believe to be questionable. He made some comments. He sent me a number of Facebook threats in my DMs. He slid into my DMs in the wrong way and made some threats. And within a matter of hours, he sent a number of, well, not so anonymous emails to my work email, making legal threats, intimating that he's watching everything I do on the internet. And he and other people are watching everything I do on the internet. And that he is sending everything I do to lawyers associated with a very well-known and high-power philanthropist on the East Coast. And he went on to say, in the course of some of those emails, that I couldn't possibly have any defense and that I've committed defamation. Of course, there's nothing I said that was defamatory. That would have to be proven in a court of law. But he didn't like some of the things I was saying about things he publicly posted online. And it garnered some mocking by other people in a forum, including some mocking by me. And I'll reveal some more about the other tangential characters that make those activities unsavory in just a moment. But he decided to send my work a bunch of emails. He sent me a bunch of emails. He left a anonymous, because caller ID caught it, voicemail to my work voicemail, making threats and making intimations. And it didn't stop there. Actions continued online and continued to present day. So let me fast forward a little bit more. Actually, no, let me tell the side story that goes along with the detractors, because a lot of this, I think, involves an activity that another social subsection of my very niche line of work, they choose to do some touring together. And it is predominantly, and I'll just be blunt here, it is predominantly a bunch of gay men. Now, there are some other, I believe, closet cases, other participants to certain tour groups that visit institutions, institutions that I tend to work for. They tend to visit various institutions of that ilk across the country in a bus. I was going to say a multi-wheeled conveyance. I'm trying to decide how much to couch terms here.
This is all you. I know way too much. So you use the terms you want to use.
I know. Well, some of the details really don't matter because this is public stuff. They've posted publicly. People have made comments publicly. I've made comments publicly. Mm-hmm. If you can't take it, don't post it publicly, for God's sake.
Right. And
considering that some of the participants in these tour groups are people that have predatory history. Some of them have sexual assault history, which I personally experienced. So I have a sexual assault story tied into these people. Other people who have privately shared some information with me have also experienced predation and sexual assault by some of these same individuals. So when they post activities that garner some concern, some mocking, and some speculation about what's really going on at these activities, the participants on these tours start getting rather uptight and kind of combative. I believe there are reasons they get combative, and I believe those reasons include there are other secrets that some of us may theorize, and I mostly keep to myself. I've shared some other things via some of my social media life that I believe to be true based on my own experiences with some of these individuals. But when you collectively get a bunch of well, mostly single gay men who work in a very niche industry. And one of them has a history of predation and other things that are unsavory. And they also circle people who are not only high power individuals, also allegedly gay. And at least one professor who was discharged from their professorship at a university in the Midwest for Title IX sexual harassment violations. You start to connect some dots, right?
As
It
one
doesn't
ought to. Yeah.
as one should, as one with any sense of intelligence and any sense of intuitive capacity, who's experienced some things, might start to reach some conclusions about the people involved in these activities. And when you see those people getting involved in those circles and involving themselves in those activities with those people, who then go on to be placed in very prominent projects and positions that if I were to reveal them to you, you could find them very quickly. You start to get even more suspicious about what's really going on behind the scenes. And so me being me, I've very carefully talked about my concerns about some of these things publicly for the most part. Because yes, even private groups on social media are not private. And I'm no dummy. I've known that. I grew up with Facebook, God damn it. We used it for texting each other back and forth before cell phones could even do that. So I've been birthed with social media as I've come of age, right? We know these things. These are not foreign to us. So when they want to get condescending and they would say things like, they're saying these things publicly and in writing. Chill the fuck out. I mean, hello, Captain Obvious. You stupid millennials. We know this. I do. I get a little insulted. I can't help it. It's like I've been on this earth another decade longer than you when these things were being invented. I know what they are. I know how they work. Even the things that people think are private, I know are not private. So don't preach to me. Don't patronize me. But that's the least of their sins. Their transgressions. Their transgressions are far greater than just being patronizing. Oh, let's see. We were scammed by many people from HVAC to electrical work to tornado shelters in Oklahoma. Oh my God. It was really hard to learn about all the shady people as they were purposely causing us harm for their gain. And it's no different. It is no different in my line of work either. Because my industry is unregulated. It's just the way it is. And because it crosses interesting intersections of government protections. God, see, I don't want to give it away. Because it involves certain freedoms, it's very unregulated. So my industry, there's lots of fraud that happens. There's lots of scammers. There's lots of fakers. There's lots of people who posture themselves as being experts in this, that, and the other, who once the bankruptcies catch up to them and all of the stories get out about them, they're out of business or they're out of work or they have caught on with someone else and they're doing it all over again. I've had to give clients bad news about being scammed. And after what they have gone through to raise money to do things they've wanted to do for what they hire me for, it's heartbreaking to have to tell them that. Sure. Because more often than not, in my line of work, you've got one shot to do this kind of work, and it has to last you 50 years or so.
Well, and it's like some of the organizations, I think, also, like, they're not these like, they're not companies like ones that, like big tech or
It's
whatever.
A lot of small business.
They're small. They're small organizations, sometimes not for profits or some kind of thing like that. And like, they don't have just like do-over money. It's just, you kind of get your, like, well, we raised this amount of money to do this particular project. And if that goes completely sideways, well, we're fucked for the next 10 years. Like the life of a NPO, right?
Well, Batty, that would be nice. Batty says, who knew the kazoo world had these shady characters? Maybe they should take up the tin whistle instead and leave you alone. And while at face value, that that would be nice. Tin whistles are no further distant, unfortunately. It falls into a similar category, shall we say, including kazoos. But lest I reveal too much. Again, I'm not going to give all of my breadcrumbs away. I'm not going to hand the entire loaf of bread on the silver tray to my future doxers. They're still going to have to earn it. We're just sharing more of the story as much as I dare and not compromise a potential case. Because, just like Jeremy Hales is sharing his case in very careful and methodical ways, this is a similar thing for me. And I would say the same thing about all the guys combating Laura Owens. Clayton has not been shy about sharing everything. I'm just not going to name names unless it actually hits a public docket and it's going to become a matter of public record anyhow. So that's why I'm withholding some information for my protection and for my future litigative possibilities. See, Mama didn't raise no fools. And by saying that, it makes me sound foolish. But no, my mother, despite her not pursuing higher education, she was quite smart. And my father's pretty brilliant, too. I've got very smart siblings. They work in tech, and one works in healthcare as in surgical stuff. I won't say where, but that particular sibling has experienced some of the horrors of humanity in their line of work in healthcare, too, including things like mass shootings. But that's all I will say.
I think it's fair to say that across most major industries, that there are a certain subset of bad actors that are like inside and outside. Like you were saying about the mass shooter thing. Like that's certainly an impact from external. But I mean, I've worked with people who are some of the worst personalities ever, that are only there to step over everyone for their own personal gain, and
Yep.
all of it. It's like that. I think every industry sort of has some kind of character that's just not there for nefarious purposes, all the way from for-profit, like global trillion-dollar companies, all the way to the like local neighborhood nonprofits that
Which
are
I could touch on, too.
supposedly there for the betterment of
a benevolent organization that has tried to flirt with my area of work as a nonprofit and committed horrific atrocities in the resulting product they produce for a donation to their organization.
Well, how about that?
How about that? So my industry runs the gamut of absolute fly-by-night frauds to people who do legitimate, long-standing work, as most industries probably do. And Wallace Juno says, just a casual hour late, that's okay. You may be in a different time zone. But excited to get some context on these detractors you keep mentioning. Wallace Juno, I highly suggest starting from the beginning. If you haven't done so at some point, just for a little more context. Yes, we're digressing a lot because that's what we do. But it will give you some background. It will give you some more context. We haven't even gotten into the meat of the story yet. We're just getting warmed up here.
Yep.
And Batty says, yes, there are bad actors everywhere. I seem to attract them, but I've worked for places that didn't have them, and it was wonderful. I will emulate and empathize with that because I seem to attract these people myself. And you yourself, Jeep Daddy, have said so. I am a target.
Yes.
I am like the bug zapper of daring do and nefarious people, it seems.
Yes. I mean, I say that in our private conversations in jest, surely.
I'm going to make that a little less private conversation because you're not wrong.
Because you just lobbed that shit right back over to me, and you're not exactly wrong either. But as a quick side note, Batty, if you've got names of organizations that don't have really shit people working for them and around them, I'd love to know who those are, because
that
I'm
could
really
be very
tired
valuable
of working
information.
for shitty fucking people who are willing to use lowly folk like myself as expendable cogs that should just be returned to Timu.
That's rough. You're an expendable cog from Timu?
That's the way that some of my leadership team treats me.
I don't doubt it.
Isn't it
You're
lovely?
disposable. You're disposable
Yes.
because there are any number of dozens, if not hundreds of children probably wringing their hands to make your way of living, or at least your income, without realizing what it will cost them. They will have no soul after 5 years.
They would love half of my my income and absolutely kill themselves for these people and for the corporation. And after Oh God, how many years? Let's see, carry the one, do some math and this. 15 years of working in and around this particular entity. I'm no longer willing to do that.
Smart.
I have,
Boundaries are
yeah,
difficult with big
they
corporate settings, aren't
aren't
they?
they? Yeah,
They're
especially when
also difficult
one of
in
your
small business
managers works.
settings.
Yes, when one of your managers at a multi-trillion-dollar company works 7 days a week, and that shows the level of expectation you're supposed to have. Yeah,
Yikes.
yeah.
Whereas all of my niche industry is, even the biggest of them all would be considered small business. I mean, it's just that simple.
Yep.
And they may make profits in the millions. And the joke in my industry is that how do you make $1 million? Well, you start with $2 million.
Mhm.
So that's also accurate. It's not an easy industry to make a profit on, because the recipients of our work product tend to think that they should be getting things for free.
Mm.
Maybe that's true in the tech industry too. I don't know.
They want it as little as possible. They want to pay as
Yeah,
little as
cheap and
possible.
dirty. Free is a good price if we can get it, and it's still quality.
Yeah,
It's strange value economics, but
but I mean that
I don't
leads
know where
into
that comes
other
from.
rants about
It does.
free products versus paid products and who's the actual customer and what's the commodity, which might be part of our conversation a little later on. So,
Okay.
we, just
If it enters the
there's
fray,
that.
that's fine.
Yeah.
Wallace Juno has, let's see, I work for an organization that does not treat us like disposable Timu cogs. We're just a 50 person organization, though, so there's time to become corporate chills, I'm sure. Yeah, 50 is starting to get to be a little bit larger business and organization.
Yes, yeah. Kind of going out of like the small to maybe like small
Yeah,
to
that's
medium.
starting to get into medium category. I think
Mhm.
here in our locale, when you get into like 100, that's considered a medium-sized business or organization. And there may be
Yeah, I
some
don't know what the thresholds are.
financial platforms for that too. I don't know. That goes beyond my level of interest. Okay, so let's see. Picking up from the last year and then some. So we've talked about a principal detractor in New York, and we've talked about some of the things that detractor has done. Sending emails, sending private messages, making lots of legally laughable threats. And let me share one of these legally laughable threats to you, where he stated, "You work for a public company. You have no subpoena power." First of all, objection calls for legal conclusion. Second of all, what the fuck? You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. While also threatening me with a defamation lawsuit at the same time, within a sentence or two. So all of that happened in the summer of 2024. Life goes on, things happen. I continue carrying on as I want to do. And lo and behold, summer of 2025, this past year, and this is why I want to get this off of my chest. Out with the old and in with the new, I can put a pin in that, close the door on that, and leave things be until they do more stupid shit. So that's part of the reason I'm sharing some of the detractors' story with you. So lo and behold, July 4th comes and goes, and within a few days, a person, and we'll say a transgender person, who lives in the Midwest and loosely affiliates with this same circle of people. There is a circle of people that circle this individual in New York, and they circle certain locations and big prominent projects around New Jersey. I think I better not say any more than that.
Yes, probably not.
Because it would reveal too much. And again, this is stuff that if I were to give you enough would be extraordinarily easily identifiable. And we're not going to give all of the future doxers all of the meat and potatoes in one fell swoop. But there are a number of people that circle this institution around New Jersey, of which this detractor in New York circles, is involved there somewhat regularly, as do other people who have found need to make me a target and scapegoat for all of their life problems. Because again, I'm a nice guy and I'm expected to turn the other cheek, and if you'll pardon the expression, take it up the ass, which I am not want to do. That might be revealing too much. I got him. I got him.
I
Yes.
can't.
Point
I
for
can't.
me.
I
Point
can't.
for me. I'll take that one to the bank. Okay. We've made Jeep Jetty blush just slightly.
You know,
Yay!
you and your like slightly not so subtle homophobic yet you're also gay comments. Yeah, okay.
There was nothing homophobic. Stop it.
Oh yeah, like taking it up the ass is a bad thing. Okay.
It's a personal preference.
Yeah,
It's one
and
that I do not engage in for lots of reasons that I don't want to get into right now.
that yes, but it's not like you wouldn't want to find somebody who wants that, and you're not just
I
gonna
didn't
like.
say that.
Well,
Okay, he's
you're
flailing.
making.
I've
You're
really
making.
got him now. He's flustered.
Just don't make it sound like a bad thing for all the receivers on the end of this that's listening to this.
Lots of people on all
It's
spectrums,
it is
all
not
sides of the coin
it is not
enjoy
something to
certain
be ashamed of.
activities.
Don't be
I didn't
ashamed.
say that.
There's no bottom shaming here.
No, there's not. It's not bottom shaming, and it's not intended to be bottom shaming. So I will preface. Well, it's too late to preface.
Too late to preface anything.
late to
You're in the
preface.
post snuff at this point.
I will clarify thusly. We are not bottom shaming here.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh, Alex. Oh, Alex, you're wicked. We know who is the bottom. Well, some people would prefer that I do.
yeah.
But
don't make
it's just
don't
not
make
going to happen.
assumptions.
Let's not get into that far unless, that gets into TMI. Let's not get into bedroom stuff too much in this episode. If it's
This is
relevant,
all-
which
this-
it isn't right now,
It was all your fault.
I know. I opened the door on that. I'll extend my hand. You can slap it. Fine. See, now I've really lost where I was. Oh, we were talking about them circling certain places in New Jersey. And we were talking about a transgender organist. And this is not a transphobic rant either. But I have encountered people who identify certain ways, who have behavioral issues. Now, I don't attribute those behaviors because of who and how they choose to identify, but they do prominently put that out there, and they try to use it as both a sword and a shield. So I had a person on July 7th. At least I think it was July 7th. I'm pretty sure that's the date. The dates really don't matter, at least not until this becomes a motion or court filing. The dates don't matter. A person on July 7th who I have no interaction with. I didn't even know really who they were. I had heard of them tangentially through other references other people had made to me and pointed out what an unstable person this transgender Midwest musician is. And that's about all I knew. I knew they were young. I knew they were barely legal age, just turned 18 at the time. They're now 19. I only knew them tangentially through this circle of people who kind of run in this circle socially, online, and otherwise via New Jersey, through which this principal detractor in New York also orbits heavily. So, lo and behold, July 7th, this trans musician, and I'm only referencing trans because, again, they use it as a sword and shield. They
are the
used it
ones
as
to
a
put this
weapon
forward
against me.
all the time. Yes.
Say that again. Sorry, I was talking
Well,
over you.
they use this, and they're the ones that put this forward at
Yes.
every possible moment. This is
In
not
every
Echoes
communication.
or me.
In
It's not us.
every
It is-
communication. It was,
it is
I'm a trans
absolutely them.
musician and you need to give in to me.
I'm a trans
to make
musician
me-
and blah. Or as a trans musician, I blah. Like it's always
Yeah.
like the preface of all the things ever.
They were trying to make it their sole identity rather than,
Yes.
you know what, there's something that maybe I should talk to somebody. And they have a litany on their social media of all the problems and trials and tribulations they grew through. And this person is barely 19 and they claim to be a trans person. And they haven't quite connected the dots that they've got a lot of work to do. They've got a lot of work to do on themselves, their authenticity, and who they are as a happy, authentic person. They have not done the work. And in fact, I would say they have more work to do identifying what I believe are their personality disorders and also their behavioral disorders. Because there are postings from this person who came at me who identifies as a trans musician where a parent was calling them out for their poor behavior publicly on social media. telling this young trans musician that they shouldn't have behaved that way, and that the colors they choose to paint themselves and their life story are dark colors that people are not going to accept, and how this young person has behaved to people who have been generous to them and raised money for them to go on activities involving this niche line of work, how they've treated them poorly and abused older people who have gone out of their way to raise money for them, is horrific. It showed an extraordinarily high level of entitlement by someone who's not even 21 yet. And this person is so used to weaponizing their trans identity that it is their number one go-to as both a sword and a shield. Mm-hmm. I'm going to attack you because I'm trans, but you can't attack me because I'm trans. Mm-hmm. And this person made a posting on July 7, naming me directly and accusing me of being extraordinarily transphobic, of attacking them, and including screenshots of people who were not me making comments they did not like. And so this person in their posting, which was shared among multiple platforms and multiple people in my industry, making claims that it was a call for action, and it stated, you need to do something about this person and do it now. And that call to action was taken up. It was taken up by my principal detractor in New York. It was taken up by other people, including other Eastern Seaboard states, in the DC metro area, in New England, and some other places. There was a lot of action that happened, and a lot of people had reactive posts. Quite a number of those posts named me directly. They called me out. Now, let me also preface that previous thought with that every single one of these people, without me even really knowing, because I didn't interact very much with the circle, they had previously blocked me. So I didn't know these conversations were going on until another person in a group that I'm a part of happened to post this initial July 7 posting. And lo and behold, all of the other posts by these other individuals started to come out of the woodwork. And of course, I was not alone in being targeted. Another colleague who's very well esteemed, also in New York, was also targeted. And that particular colleague is, many years my senior, has semi-retired from my immediate line of work, but is well regarded as a scholar and academic in what I do. Has gone on to do lots of consultation for other similar companies, but not quite the same thing. So a couple of us, and a group in general, has been named public enemy number one by these people. And by my principal detractor, including the trans musician and some others. So things devolve. I keep a close eye because I start learning about all these things. This happened within the last 4 months, roughly. A lot happens. Having seen and thought for a little while about what was being said about me online, I decided, I probably shouldn't just leave this alone, like I did the last time people came after me and sent stuff to my work and sent stuff and voicemails and all this other shit. I decided, you know what, maybe I should be smart and defend myself in certain ways. So, unabashedly, I made a pretty direct response to that July 7 post by a trans organist, which, if taken out of context, might have been seen as transphobic. And of course, as I know, and I knew this going into making a posting in response to me being targeted, called out, and people being called to do things, how do I want to say this? People being called to do things to me and about me is probably the best way to put it.
That's kind of like, we've heard this term before. It's called stochastic terrorism.
I have not heard this term. Give me a definition. Do you want to post that up?
I'll go find the official definition.
Go find that and let's bring that up, because that could be very valuable information.
Apparently in short, what it is inciting others to do the violence or to call to action rather than doing it yourself. So you have
Yes.
plausible deniability that it wasn't coming from you, even though you're the one that said, "Hey, we should go do something." Then somebody else goes and does it because they heard you say it. But you can say, "Oh, I
Uh-huh.
didn't tell them to go do the thing," but
But there
yeah,
are legal boundaries for that, aren't there?
there are.
Calls to action that they themselves then later engage in,
Right.
which also turn into actions that others who are called to that action engage in, becomes a pretty indefensible standpoint, I believe, legally. Oh, Batty, I love that. Send the flying monkeys. Yes.
Yes.
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
Yes.
Absolutely.
1000%.
Oh, hey, it just so happens I bring a Wizard of Oz reference to that one too. Well, flying monkeys are Wizard of Oz and or Wicked. We'll be fair.
Same.
Okay, I won't say what I'm thinking because that's too meta there too. So to tell more of this story. So as I respond, I make my response. It's a fairly lengthy. And it is a very personal response. And it's not only rebutting what I'm being accused of, where I'm being accused of being a racist administrator of a certain group that these people don't like, all kinds of things that are not provable. No facts are given. There's no evidence. I have not done it. It's not me they're accusing of these things, despite all of the images they try and attach to these postings. And then they claim, because how else can you explain it? Oh, he's making all these sock accounts. They're all him. He's all these people. It's lazy. It's lazy work, and it's just trying to scapegoat. And it's trying to scapegoat in such a fashion where that call to action intensifies. It catches the attention, again, of people in my industry who are watching. Some of these people send me some information. Some of these people give me links and pictures and other things with the suggestion that things are starting to get out of hand and maybe I should consider doing something about it. So, again, I did make a post that targeted that trans musician rather specifically. Am I proud of it? I'm actually ambivalent. Because what happened as a result of my responding to being targeted and being called out and being accused of things I did not do, that communication, that whole thing that I wrote, it was a full long post. It was many paragraphs long. And I did rake the coals of the person who decided to target me. It's like, well, you know what, child, you may learn something from this. So I spared no expense in saying exactly what I thought. And I knew there was a very good chance that that would be circulated. I was aware of that. I'm not stupid. I did not fall off the turnip truck yesterday. I know how the internet works. So I waited because part of my goal in that was not only to call them out on their bullshit and to say what I thought of them and they're targeting me. I used it as an opportunity to smoke out some foxes from the foxhole. And indeed, it did. Some foxes I'd never heard of who were also running in this same social circle that orbits around New Jersey. And it was sort of a horrific realization that it's quite a large circle of people, many of whom I've never heard of, don't care to, who have no meaning on my life because I've never heard of them. And what they produce and what they do in their daily lives is really of inconsequence, except when they come to one of my employers. They try to keep it anonymous. And then they try and make trouble for me by suggesting to my my secondary employer, I'll say. My secondary employer takes social issues very seriously, as is their right to do, because that's what they're about in that community. And I have no problems with that. Generally, I don't have any problems with anybody until they make their problems my problems. And when their problems become my problems, and their problems suggest that I am doing something criminal when that's not true, that makes it a very big problem for me. So some people decided to, both anonymously and not anonymously, but wanted to be kept anonymous, reached out to my second employer. And one of those included an email from the principal detractor in New York City via the iCloud private relay, using, as they did before in sending email communications, privately, but not privately because we can track timing pretty well. Back a year ago to my first employer. Again, it gets complicated because I've got two employers and they're trying to pick at some loose thread and find a chink in the armor on any way they can, anywhere they can with either employer, and find a way in to do the damage they want to do, and expressly communicated on social media with each other that they were going to do. So I'm not going to bring this up because it's not redacted enough to bring it up, but I'm just going to read a little bit of an anonymous, not so anonymous. I'm just going to say it's not so anonymous because I know who did it. I know who did it because it fits his writing style. It fits his method of trying to make anonymous communications, which is done before. And I can prove that demonstratively with other evidence. Again, I'm not going to bring that up. But he sent an email to my secondary employer that said this, and this was dated from this past July. And it says, "It's rather sad that a leader of your organization has such a gross online presence, period. Shame on you, exclamation point. And the others they associate with, comma, willingly, period. Revolting, no punctuation. And picking on a minor, question mark. Community? I think not. And it's unsigned. But again, I know who it is. I know it is because it fits their pattern of behavior. And you can tell a lot about patterns of behavior when they give you enough a first time to see how they operate. Oh, what's Bruce saying? Sounds like Laura Owens complaining about the Lisa Chen account. It could be, Bruce. You don't feed the drama. You know, I try not to, Bruce, except when they come on my front porch and take a shit on it, and then I have to clean up the mess. That's the only time I engage in it. It's one thing when it's left on the internet.
Well, they take a shit on your porch and then try and blame you for being the one that took the shit on the porch.
Correct. And then demand that my employer try and clean it up too by doing things to me. And by, really the request in the end. I could read some of the email from the trans musician in the Midwest, but really it's not substantive to this, other than that they made a number of allegations, which were false. And in their communications, which were multiple to my secondary employer, they demanded that I be disciplined or fired. They made those demands. And when you start making those kinds of Karen-y demands, we can talk about Karens on the internet all night long. You better tread with very delicate shoes, because you start doing that and you start trying to go after people's livelihood, you are wading into waters that could present criminal and or criminal liability. And again, I don't say that as someone practicing in the legal profession. That is my opinion, but based upon my research, there are very clear lines in the sand that you should not cross when trying to complain about somebody. And demanding that people get fired for things you don't like about them, especially when you can't prove them, is a problem. And that's what that person from the Midwest did. That's what this person from New York did. And another person from the DC metro area did a similar thing. And went so far as to tell this employer that I'm a nefarious criminal. Now, they didn't phrase it in quite those terms, but they sent not only the screenshot of the response I made to that detractor and trans musician in the Midwest, they also, them too, shall I use bad grammar, included a number of screenshots, nay, the same screenshots my other detractors were circulating, accusing me of being this person that maybe said a racist comment over there. Again, I've not said racist comment. I've not said racist comments in any of this stuff. I haven't. I have no need to. I'm not a racist person. It's uncalled for. So they keep trying to connect me to a bunch of people who've said things they don't like, with not even circumstantial evidence, just pure conjecture saying, trust me, bro, someone said this guy said this one nasty thing, ergo, all of these other people who are identifiably not him have to be him impersonating or having a sock account.
So, and for a little, just a touch of context, in some of these groups on Facebook, it is there is a mechanism in which you are allowed to post as an anonymous user.
That is correct. You know that you make a good point. Keep going. I was going to go
So,
there.
yep. So the thing is that like and I have no evidence of this because I don't manage a lot of groups, but really anything that you post on the internet, flat out, period, is never anonymous. We'll just start with that baseline, and we can talk about that a little bit later. But um, that breeds a certain skepticism, and then so sort of like uh, suspicion to where like if somebody does like somebody else, it's like if I came in as like my Facebook, if I had a Facebook profile named Jeep Daddy and made these certain comments, that they would likely try and say, oh, that's just Echoes like making a comment or something like that because there's this encouragement of anonymity and pseudonyms. And I was raised in the days of America Online 2.0. Okay, this is long before.
That is dating yourself a little bit.
It is. I don't give a shit. But it is very much like anonymity. Like is how I survived growing up as a gay kid in the middle of bumfuck Egypt, Colorado. Um, so I understand that there is a there. I understand that there's a need to do that, but like to levy accusations broadly speaking around like this other named person is Echoes, or like this other person is like Jeep Daddy, whatever. Like that's like no, that's not that that alone is not proof, in my opinion. And like that this is the flaw in what they're doing is like
Correct.
anybody who has any sort of like different name or is agreeing with the sentiment that Echo has about this, they are immediately being like, well, fuck off, that's just Echoes under a different name, and like as though Echoes has like 12 different accounts running
It's
around on
it's a
Facebook
it's a
saying the thing. It's
convenient
like
excuse.
it is
It's a convenient
because
excuse.
the rest of their shit doesn't hold up.
Right. And we saw that. We've seen that, and I'll reference the Hales cases again. Jeremy Hales has been accused of all sorts of egregious things and all sorts of horrific things that are not true.
Mhm.
And as the cases unfold, again, there's like 10 federal cases that Jeremy has filed in the What the Hales case with all of his detractors. He's got a whole shit ton. He's got like a whole county of detractors in Florida and maybe some other places too, who either are trying to grift off of him and can't and were exposed, or other people trying to grift off those grifters and are being exposed.
Yeah. They're trying to
Just
follow some kind of playbook that's
yes,
like that oh, I saw that somebody else could get away with that bullshit, and so I'm going to try it too because clearly it worked for them, and so it's going to work for me. But like you fuck with the wrong person who actually can like rebut the conversations and everything, and it's like, oh yeah, no, maybe I fucked up on that one. Yeah.
yes. And I want to come back to this, and well, I'll hit on this really fast. And yes, cousin Alex's wedding. That being the cousin of Megan Fox. Everyone say hi to Alex. She did have a lovely wedding, and the pictures were lovely that Megan posted. Alex was indeed one of the most gorgeous brides I think I've ever seen. There are good genetics in that family. I'm thinking some other thoughts that I probably shouldn't say out loud. I wouldn't mind tapping into that gene pool. Okay, that's enough. That's enough.
Ooh.
Oh, now I might be blushing. Oh, okay.
Oh, man, you made yourself blush. Good
I know.
job. Good
I know.
job.
But I want to come back to what Batty said. Clearly, you're a threat to them somehow. Yes, I am. I know that, and I know why. And I've let a little tidbit slip about why I think that is. We'll get to more of that in just a moment, because that comes into context with some of the stuff that follows. So
Well, why don't you keep going, and I'm going to let y'all look at because Jeep Daddy needs I need an intermission.
A trail break?
I'm gonna yes, I need a trail break. Stretch my legs. So I'll let you look at this phenomenal background that I took as this is literally last night. Okay, this was my scenery last night. I'm gonna let you look at that, and I will be right back.
Oh, you can be hot, medium, smart, and that's I'll give that 2 thumbs up. I tend to miss on at least one of those. They're either not even medium smart or not as hot as they should be. But I'll admit it, at my age and my genetic type, I wasn't blessed quite so well with those genes. Up until my mid-30s, I did okay. But, now middle age has thoroughly set in, and just trying to lose some weight has become problematic, among other medical challenges that follow, but never mind. So with some of the communications that have happened in more recent times, let me share with you another tidbit. There was the email that was sent that I shared with you from a iCloud anonymous relay from my New York detractor. There was more that he decided to engage in. It didn't stop there. It did not stop with him sending iCloud weird email messages. Again, unsigned. It's my belief they're him. I think I've got more than circumstantial evidence to prove that. But it did not stop there. He followed through on the call to action to do as much harm to me as he could. And there was some stuff that happened. I probably should have inserted something there, but no. No, actually, I will. I will, because this runs parallel. So as a result of communications sent to my second employer by someone from the Washington, D.C. area, shall we say, the District of Columbia metro area, that's good enough. I was asked to show up to a special meeting that my secondary employer wanted to hold because they had concerns based upon the images they saw and the conversation they had with that individual. So if you're counting, those of you keeping score at home, those of you playing the home game, we are at a total of 3 detractors so far, and there's more to come if we want to include everybody. I won't tonight because I could be on here longer than I thought. I thought maybe I'd get through this in an hour. It's taking longer than I expected, so value added. This detractor from Washington, D.C. area, metro, he sent that message. She sent some images, one of which was me, the rest were not, and made a bunch of accusations like the first detractor and the second detractor from the Midwest. And that meeting was called because they had some personnel concerns. It's like being called into HR. I don't know how many of you have been called into HR, but this was the equivalent to that. And it was a meeting involving not only my principal employer, but other people of a special task force that are meant to engage in conflict resolution of these types, especially when employment or legal exposure could be a risk factor for this particular community. So I was called into a meeting, and I spent a week and a half. I wanted to get it quickly. I was trying to get a job done. But when I was called into a meeting sort of out of the blue while I was at work one day, because my second employer had grave concerns about some information he received from the detractor in Washington, D.C., they held a meeting. I said, let's do it sooner rather than later, even though not everybody from this particular resolution group could be in live attendance. We did some remote stuff, but we held a meeting. It was a very long meeting. I spent over a week and many sleepless nights preparing mountains, over 1 gigabyte, I think it was, of images and evidence of what I had experienced at the hands of these and other detractors over the last year. So I was prepared to defend myself in every manner possible. And if there's a lesson to learn here for all of you on the internet who brave the wide, wild world of the Wild West of the internet, is document everything that could be remotely concerning to you or a potential threat in the future. I have more than 600 images, I think. Maybe it's 500 something. I forget the total. I've got it in a folder. It doesn't matter. The specific number of images I have of all the things said and done exceeded one of my files. It was an old thumb drive. So I had to get new thumb drives that were bigger to accommodate all of these images. Image after image, threat after threat, accusation after accusation, allegation after allegation, leveled and targeted and pointed in my direction by all these people. So this meeting happened, and I told them the whole sordid story, and it took about 2 hours. That whole sordid story included names, it included locations, and it included people. It was all the details. It was the first time I had presented the case and all of the facts, shall we say. There was nothing left unsaid or unspoken. I was prepared to show them everything that I do, and I even revealed to them what I do here on my YouTube channel because I knew it too could be a source of leverage for my detractors if they so chose to try and leverage it and make accusations. Without proper context, you could take a channel like mine or anybody else talking about Laura Owens and take a small segment out of context and say, they're being misogynists, you need to fire them. It happens, folks. We've seen that happen in the political arena all over the place in recent months and in the last year and years. It happens a lot. People go full Karen and they will do anything they can, and I believe, and we have experienced and seen, to the point of committing crimes to get their way. Laura Owens has done that, allegedly, according to the 14 felonies, and then some. We've followed that, we've covered that. So too have people involved in the Hales case. Numerous people have engaged in alleged crimes. Megan Fox and that umbrella guy are actively pursuing lawsuits against those people for coming after them and for doxing them and exposing them to harm. I've had the same thing happen to me, but in a slightly different fashion. That being just the circle of my work tends to be small and people are stupid. So, detractor number 1 from New York. We found out in this meeting where I met with my second employer and, shall we say, HR. In that meeting was a revelation that came to my principal employer, my secondary employer. I keep saying principal. I don't know why. They're all principals to me because, well, I mean, it's like 50-50 income from both. So even my full-time job, which doesn't pay pittance, it's only 50% of my income. My part-time job, it's also a good 50% of my income. So there's that. What comes out in this meeting is that principal detractor number 1 from New York has been calling around locally to have conversations with people about me, to tell them things about me that they think potential clients of mine should know. And let me paraphrase. I'm not going to read it verbatim, even though I've got some redactions. I could bring it up, but I probably shouldn't. Now, this came about in that meeting, where it turns out that people have been calling locally to do harm to me. And it says, hello, so-and-so. That's a redaction. Someone from New York called and wanted to have a conversation with me concerning echoes. I'll just insert my stage name there. They also said, to their credit, I did not follow up on the request, and I did not have a conversation. But I did call my colleague and give them a heads up that this happened. So already we have evidence of people interfering locally with my means of employment. Tell me that's not potentially nefarious conduct. And yes, I'm using padded words by using the word potentially. It's an LY word. Jack Fox says, watch out for those LY words. And ever since learning that from Jack Fox, I'm very careful about how I phrase things now. It makes me mindful. Say things you mean and don't beat around the bush, especially when the facts are on your side. So there's another example of people calling locally to cause trouble for me. And I believe that enters the realm of tortious acts, shall we say. And again, I say that not as somebody who practices in the legal profession. It's just my opinion. But it's problematic for them when they go from, not so anonymous emails to actually calling people from an identifiable phone number. And their location can be traced. And their intent is to have conversations that involve me and things that they think I'm up to. Now, yes, I am reading a little bit into that email, but given what was said by this same detractor from New York in other contexts and in other locations, it was demonstrative that they wanted to do harm to me. So let me give you some other examples of things that they would say publicly. I'm changing slides. I've got all of this as images. It's all right here. I could be stupid and share it all with you, but I won't. Because again, I want to preserve some of this for the record. We want to preserve some things for the future legal record, should it be necessary. So let me read some more things that appeared on social media via people's public Facebook pages. out in the open, as long as you were not blocked by them. And it was no surprise to me to learn that most of these people, most of my detractors, have very strategically and surgically blocked certain people so as to hide their actions. I would imagine the fleas and the fleesas and the anti-what the Hales people have done similar things to try and hide their inappropriate conduct, if not illegal conduct. But again, that's my opinion. Because I have followed the Hales case somewhat, and everything I've seen that side engage in has been very legally risky. And I think they're finding that out. And of course, that's not only just actions and doing improper things and defamation, all the things they're doing to Jeremy Hales. It's also included things like bankruptcies. These people do the same things. They go out and do stupid things. They do it publicly. They target people publicly. They say things that are, criminally indefensible. And then they go and commit bankruptcy fraud. It's like these insane people are only wired one way, and they all do the same things. I don't get it. I just didn't get it.
They're the same. They're learning their lessons from the people at the top.
Not just the top, but maybe others that they socialize with. But the effect is the same.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And Batty says, it didn't come from a pizza shop basement, did it? No, it did not. Sorry if it's inappropriate to make silly comments to belittle your Detractors. You can make all the inappropriate comments about my detractors you wish.
Bring it.
Now, let me preface that by saying, you have freedom of speech too. The only speech I will ever get involved in is people saying things that I know to not be true about some of my other fellow content creators. As I had to do with a person who was making accusations about Omar, which I knew to be factually wrong. And I decided, you know what, this person's just not going to get the message. I tried to work with them a little bit, and I decided it was too risky just to keep them around, making problems on the channel. And just, they had a personal beef with Omar and a case they think they had that Omar decided not to take. I'll just share the story briefly. And so they had this beef with Omar, and they wanted to use my channel as a platform for their grievance against Omar. I'm not here for that. That's your problem. Don't bring it to my channel. I think Omar's a great guy. I appreciate his intelligence and his work. I've appreciated his channel. He's been generous to me, even though we've had little fun jabs at each other. It's okay. I like Omar. I want to give him a hug when I see him because I think he's a huggy kind of guy. But that's just my impression. And he's been another great legal mind in all the Laura Owens stuff, as well as being involved directly. Bless him for that. Talk about financial risks taking on a client like that.
Gosh, no kidding.
I mean, when Laura Owens is on the other side and you've got to combat the crazy psycho bitch from the succubus of Scottsdale. See, I need to get in the habit of saying it. People like that. It's a good alliterative phrase. The succubus of Scottsdale, Laura Owens. Yeet all adverbs. Yeah. I'm not always very good at that. Sometimes I forget adverbs from I don't know. Grammar's not my forte. I'm just medium intelligent enough to use big words. What?
I'll send you the videos from Schoolhouse Rock back in the day. And
don't send me the conjunction junction video. That'll get stuck in my head for years.
It's already stuck in your head.
There you go. See? I didn't even have to say much. I'm not going to sing it, though.
You're welcome.
So here's some things they foolishly post. Getting back to my detractors again. For the 39th digression of this evening. Here's something they post. One of them, who I don't know, but follows in the social circle, says, I wonder if Echo's boss knows the kind of quote-unquote nasty crap he posts online. Or the company's clients. And then detractor number 1 from New York says, and his second place of employment. And then another person says, boy, that's not good for business for sure. Another person who I could consider a detractor in Florida says rather stupidly, we can fix that really quickly. And then yet another person who hasn't liked me responding to some of the bullshit they post online says, the ex-clients do, because when he was trolling my work, one of his former clients sent me some pictures of what they do. The thing that stands out to me is when someone says, when the string of thought is, I wonder if the employers and clients know. And then, a couple clicks down, it's, we can fix that really quick. That shows motive and intent, in my opinion. That's dangerous. That's very dangerous. And let's read some more. Well, I'm reading some. You just have to take my word. Take my word for it, chat. But Jeep Daddy has seen these things, so he can vouch for them.
I have seen them unredacted. These
vouch.
messages are absolutely authentic and disgusting. Yeah, it's. I don't even know what else to say about them. They're just
that's
like,
enough.
It's amazing.
I'll keep putting nails in their coffin for them by reading very carefully paraphrased
By
comments.
all means, do.
No, this might be the highlight of my day after sharing the story earlier. Detractor from Florida says, I don't think he's smart enough to grasp the concepts of slander. He being me. Being me echoes me, myself, and I. I don't think he's smart enough to grasp the concepts of slander, libel, and defamation, all of which we have recorded proof of. Yet they never have any proof. They never show the proof. This is like reading posts from the fleas and the fleasas and lips, legally lips.
Their proof is like other accounts that are making these posts that they're saying is echoes, and yet it's not.
Yes. And a detractor in Florida continues and says, it's in writing. It's libel. Not liable. Sorry, libel. It's almost a weird syllable. It's libel and a federal crime of internet harassment. It's real ovarian cancer. Sorry.
Speak for your my response to that is just, well, speak for yourself, because isn't that exactly what you're fucking doing? Oh yeah, that's right. These people tend to project. That's what they do. Okay. Got it.
In HD, nonetheless. And to the whole world where it can be captured and used in a court of law against them.
Yes.
And should push come to shove, that's exactly what will happen. And Detractor and New York Detractor. Maybe if I just name them by location, that works. I'm trying to manage this a little bit without stumbling over names.
Detractor's a lot of syllables at this point.
It is, but it works because then people know that they're a foe and not a friend.
Okay, so whomever's got a drinking game going on about how many times Echoes uses the word
Don't. I am
detractor.
not going to be responsible for people having liver disease over this.
I was just about to say, please check yourself into the local hospital because you will be completely freaking drunk by now.
A bank account. There's some hijinks going on in chat. Silly. So let's see. New York Detractor says it's got so much time on its appendages, referring to me. He's made lots of body shaming comments. He's equated me to obese characters from South Park. Some of those images I actually kind of laughed at because it's like, well, if I were to get a little bit fatter, yeah, maybe that could be, I'm no skinny mini. I'll admit it. It's been my genetic curse for the last 7 years. I could stand to lose a good 60 pounds if I'm being honest. Then I'd be in an okay place. But that hurts. That hurts so much and it's hard to do. And not all of us have access to Ozempic. At least not conveniently. I'm just saying. I'm just saying
I know a guy.
I know you do, but I don't trust that source. And I have reasons. Because reasons. And then New York Detractor says to Florida Detractor, there's 2 alleged criminals. He's referencing me, of course. But they forgot the convicted one in their own group. Sad. And then Florida Detractor responds, I don't understand their fascination with me. It's truly sick. Well, the fascination that other people had with Florida Detractor was that he's got a DUI history longer than David Gingras. And that came out one day. I commented on it. Others commented on it. He didn't like that. He wanted that to be a secret.
Oh.
Evidently. I'm assuming. That's an assumption on my part. But again, we could argue whether or not airing people's dirty laundry is a problem or not. But when you could say that about Laura Owens. You shouldn't talk about Laura Owens because it's matter of public record. It's too bad. If you don't want to be seen as a bad guy in the public, don't do stuff that's criminal, number one, and don't have stuff that's going to become a matter of public record. Other than, as I've mentioned, my minor traffic things, I don't have a record. Some would say I've lived a very boring life. It's a very, where's my halo? I've lived a very pure life comparatively.
I wish I could disagree.
I know. See, you can't stand that.
I can't.
And I'm
God
here
damn
for
it.
that. I'm here for that. And let me
I've been trying.
finish off
I
this.
have been
Oh,
trying to corrupt echoes for
you and just
um.
about everybody else.
How long have we known each other now? A long
Oh
time.
shit balls.
It's at least double digit. I know it's more than double
More
digits.
than a decade.
Yeah.
It's
I've been
probably
trying.
17, 16 years.
Probably.
Maybe 17 now.
Mm.
I'll do the math later.
Do the math later. I don't, because honestly don't want to know because it's just fucking forever. But yes, I've been trying to corrupt him as long as I've known him, and
And you failed for the most part.
no, I've had a little bit of success, a little bit.
Only when it comes to only when it comes to word choice. And that reminds me, our words of the day. Our words of the day. This yet another digression, because right now, folks, I just don't care. We're just talking. I'm just talking about life. From the creative cursing, a mix and match profanity generator. If you clutch your pearls, you may not want to hear this. So give us 15 seconds.
Mute for just a minute.
And mine today is diaper jacket.
Excellent. Mine
That's
is
not very good profanity, but
juice
waffle. Boy, those are pretty tame today.
I know.
Okay, well, that's all right. We can't have them be salacious all the time.
Yeah,
That's
my
fine.
second pick was kind of good, but you know.
Yes. So back to this particular slide. This is like slide number 4 I've got for the evening. Oh, where did I leave off? Somewhere down there. Okay, yes. New York Detractor, says the Florida Detractor. When your life is a meaningless cave of despair and have free access to public social media, what else can you foster? He projects more than a laser.
Newsflash, everybody has access to public social
But
media.
they don't want.
Oh my God.
They don't want me to have access to public social media.
Yeah.
And I'll talk about that in a moment because I've got slides about that too.
Let's go.
And then Florida Detractor says, good thing they're stupid enough to put all of it in writing. The irony of that one is it's not
Brilliant.
lost on me.
Yeah.
It's not lost on me. So let's see, slide number 5. Slide number 5, I'm not going to read too specifically because it's New York Detractor talking to somebody else I don't know, where they reference principal employer number 1 and suggest that I'm destroying that business and name that business. And then New York Detractor says, the thing is, his first and second places of employment may be whatever, implying that they're nothing special, I suppose. But he, being Echoes, brings such negative attention to both. Seeing as no one else, that's great grammar, seeing as no one else would oblige to hold such positions, I'm sure they'll protect him despite bringing foul attention to the institutions. Yes, Batty, isn't this great? They're self-snitching, just like Laura Owens is in her own Justice for Laura posts. See, I thought you'd like some of this stuff. I know this is very particular. I know it's not directly Laura Owens related, and forgive me, folks who are watching this now and on Replay Crew. This is just my New Year's indulgence to kind of wipe the slate clean for the year ahead, and to see if they decide to be stupid. So we're airing some of it out.
Decide to be stupid. I think they've been operating at that space for quite a while at this point, but you know,
more than a year. If it keeps going, it's going to be like 3 years, maybe further. I'm not sure.
Let them dig their own graves.
Well, or take as much rope as they wish.
Yeah,
because at some point there could be a legal tug on the other end.
Oh no!
Just saying. Just saying. So let's talk about another Midwest detractor. We'll just keep it in the same locale so I don't have to get specific. This particular detractor from the Midwest, actually, you know what? I will be slightly more specific. Who hails from the realms not foreign to that umbrella guy. And I would imagine this particular detractor has a Tennessee twang. And that identifies the general location from whence they are from. And this child, who more recently is landed in their early 20s, has a public violent criminal history. They were indicted for physical assault of someone believed, I'm not sure if it's been substantiated or not, to have been a first boyfriend, where this detractor violently assaulted and broke someone's arm, supposedly over a bowl of popcorn. I don't know if those facts are 100% accurate, but that is what has been reported to me. So this child has some violent felony history. I don't know what the final outcome of that case was. I believe it was sealed. I wasn't able to look it up. But there was news reports that he was arrested, and there's a mugshot. So when you do that much and you're on the news with a mugshot and you're not even 21 when that happens,
Clearly you have done
clearly there are
something.
problems. So this particular Tennessee detractor, that's what I'll call him, Tennessee detractor, that works, has a more nefarious history online than I could ever be accused of. He has gone and accused people of all kinds of things with zero evidence, and he's had no compunction doing so because he's got problems. Obviously, he's got problems. He's got mood problems. And he's a foster kid. He's an adoptive kid. But his adoptive parents are well-to-do. I can't mention them because I just can't. They're well-known.
And
They're well-known.
Let's be clear that just because you're foster does not necessarily mean that you're predispositioned to
That's correct.
this behavior. It does obviously have an impact on people and like having a rough life, and like not what some would call stable or easy, etc. But just because a person is a foster child or adopted does not automatically make them a little, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. This
Right.
person has certainly chosen many life paths that have caused this problems for himself.
Correct. But he has his adoptive family, which what they do is important to... Never mind, that gives too much away. It's important to science. God, see,
they work for Aperture Science. What? That's
No.
what they do. They test.
the minds I am trying not to step on by explaining anything.
Well,
He comes from...
if anybody gets my inside joke, put it in chat.
His foster family is of affluence. They are well off. They have given him everything he has ever wanted. Vehicles, places to go, things to do, education he does not appreciate and then crashes out of. He's an entitled, spoiled brat who has behavior issues that have turned into violent crime, ostensibly. So his reputation isn't very good. But he has decided to circle this same New Jersey center of detractors. Because, what more fun is there to go after a person than pile on while they're all doing so, right? Let's just everyone pile on Echoes and just see how many black eyes he can get before they're arrested. Before they're arrested for throwing all the punches. And this detractor from Tennessee says, "Hi, Echoes." He directs it to me directly, even though I couldn't see it. I was blocked. But we were given images through special means. So I was able to see these things in the end, after they happened. "Hi, Echoes. I hope you like getting dragged by the younger generations of this niche field, because it's not going to stop as long as you're posting." There's more here. I'm going to skip some of it. The New York detractor responds to some of this because he talks about various things that other people mention. And some of these guys don't like that some of these other people in this line of work, we talk about mortality sometimes. Other people have talked about mortality in very blunt terms and have said, oh, well, this person's going to kick the bucket soon. And these detractors believe some of that, which some of it is serious by the person posting it. It's not me posting it. Some of it is tongue-in-cheek. Some of it is serious. Many of their predictions have not been wrong, strangely enough. But they've talked about mortality, and that's gotten the dander up of all of these detractors. And they reference that talking about people's mortality, to calculate that, or to phrase what the New York Detractor says, that's a federal offense. To talk about people's death is a threat. And we have that documented. It's a federal crime. I can predict my own death right now. Is that a federal crime, New York Detractor? Are you going to sue me for predicting my own death, which is inevitable for 100% of our species?
Yeah, I was about to say.
Please.
That's kind of the great bargain that we've made in this deal here.
Oh,
we're all going to die.
Baddie with the one-liners tonight. Sex toy development is very important. Sure. Sex positivity. I like that.
Yeah.
Close, but no cigar. Close. Let's see, what else do we have? I kind of want to move this along because we've been going at this for a little while. And there's other things where they ramble on about claiming that things I've said are defamatory without providing evidence, other than just saying because they don't like it, it is therefore defamatory, which is stupid. Defamation has to be proven in a trial. It's not just something you can claim. You can you can point to it. There are prongs. You have to meet all the prongs of evidence for defamation, or for any libel, or any slander. There are tests, right? That's how the legal system works. But to just go around claiming things you don't like is defamation, is lazy and stupid, which they are. They're lazy and stupid. So they prattle on about that. And then they go on and say, well, all of these people are just being defamatory. Just blanket statements. And then New York Detractor says, precisely, our attorneys have everything. Our being who? You can't have group attorneys. That's stupid. Either you have an attorney or you don't. And if you're sending things to someone who you have not retained, they're not your attorney. So they're not our attorneys. They could be someone else's attorney who you're trying to leverage and get to do things for you. But in my view, that would risk their licensure with the bar. If you aren't on their, if you're not retained by them, I'll phrase it this way. If you aren't retained by them, they're not yours. They don't represent you. So sending things to just someone you claim to be an attorney is bullshit at best. Oh, bullshit! And maybe a lie at worst. I think there's a lot of lies here. There may be some evidence of pathological lying here. I'm not quite sure. I'm still sussing that out. But he finishes a statement by saying, well, not only do our attorneys have everything, it would be best for him, that being me, echoes, to stay off of social media. Oh, let's see. Okay, next slide. Let's move this along.
A failed attempt to try and just get you to voluntarily be quiet.
Yeah, by saber rattling unknown attorneys that we can't claim to actually be retaining. We see this a lot, right? I mean, Laura Owens has done it. She's claimed to be attorneys ostensibly by saying Joe Cotchett, all the Joe Cotchetts. Joe Cotchett's representing me, blah, 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 which, based on all the evidence we have and the stuff, is not been accurate. And it's been a lie. And it's been, we believe, part of her identity fraud. So these people engage in similar things that Laura Owens does, strange enough. So there's some other detractors. One person I actually met back east, who I didn't care for. And when I met him, and it was clear that he wanted to have a confrontation with me in a very public place, he was sweating profusely inside brilliant air conditioning and shaking like a leaf. So my first thought when he decided to engage me in this location, I thought, are we having a medical emergency, or are we overdosing on some substance? It's not often I see people come after me who want to have a conversation with me, be someone that likes me or doesn't like me, and they're sweating like a chia pet. Does that work? And they're shaking like a leaf in the fall winds. I had to come up with something. It's like, well, what? Sweating like a farm animal?
Came to mind.
Sweating like a farm animal and shaking like a leaf in fall winds.
Where did the chia pet come up? I just don't understand.
I don't know. I heard that
sometimes.
somewhere, and I just blurted it out. Okay.
All right, fine.
Because you had to water chia pets. You put the seeds on, you smear them on, and you just have to keep them wet all the time.
Yeah, that's called planting. But like,
well, yeah, but you just kind of inundate the pottery for the chia pet so that stays wet. I never had one, but I saw enough infomercials. We get the gist. Chia. See? Oh, we're a product of our times. So I met this I don't want to give more labels. I'll just say this other person who's affiliated with the New York and New Jersey Detractors. He had a direct confrontation to me because I've made some comments about what he does, what I have seen, what he has produced and publicly posted online, and what he and his spouse have put out into the world. He took exception to that, and he wanted to have a conversation to me about it, and we did for 45 minutes.
So that's better than just like slinging insults over posts on Facebook.
I did most of the talking, but really all it turned out to was, don't ever get my husband's name out your mouth, was essentially what the conversation distilled down to. He, like others, didn't want to be talked about at all, even though they're putting stuff out there that's public for talking about.
I see.
So I made a bunch of explanations, and I probably didn't do my best effort because I was caught off guard, as was he apparently. But I wasn't the one sweating and shaking the way he was, which made me think he is on substances because he's enormous, and at his age, he's skinnier than a beanpole. So I have thoughts about him. Again, they're my opinions. Opinions based on observation and my own experience with people who've used substances and had similar behaviors. We've got real life experience about that. So I'm not just, farting out my ass.
I could make some
I know,
comments. But
I know.
I'm
I won't stop you if you really want to do it. He's thinking. He's thinking very hard.
I mean, do you want to date them or something?
No. God, no, not this one.
Oh,
Definitely
okay.
not. Oh,
But to say he's checking some boxes of your, I'm gonna
no.
fix them.
Oh, God, no. The last one was enough.
Okay.
This one goes beyond that, I think, by a lot.
All right. Okay, fine.
And what has come out more recently is that it may be an open marriage because there's pictures of this tall beanpole posing and there's touching of a specific individual that is not their husband. So it's like, well, okay, they might be in an open marriage.
Okay, well, no shame on those who practice ethical non-monogamy.
Again, I don't get it. It just doesn't make sense to me, and I'm going to be blunt about that. It's like, if you want to get married, get married.
What's
the point in having the piece of paper? And maybe this is just my bias, and I will own that. I always think of marriage as being somewhat exclusive. Because, why not just marry a whole bunch of people? And then that'll make the Mormons happy.
Well, yes, it would, particularly the fundies that are out in the compounds. No, I just think there's a little bit more nuance to that. And yes, you don't understand that, and that's fine.
And that's fair. Because I know there are others. I know there are some that are ex-Mormon who have open marriages, and I go, well, okay. And I get there are certain benefits, there are certain emotional attachments, and the structures of that vary from situation to situation. There's no
Yes, they do.
There's no one something, no one construct.
Correct. There are multiple ways to build that.
It just doesn't make sense to me because it doesn't work for me.
Because it's not your thing, and that's okay.
No.
It can make sense in that you understand the concepts of it, but like you're not going to go put those into practice, and that's okay. But it's not for you, and it's okay.
I think where I would take exception is to people who pretend they're monogamous and or married, and then they get caught running around with other people.
Correct.
And some of them want to be caught and some of them are hiding. Yes.
Because that's falsely representing what your actual construct and your agreement of your relationship is. And that's not okay. If you're just, pardon the pun here, open about it, then then cool. Just don't lie. Don't try and put on this facade that you're this happily married monogamous couple or whatever. It doesn't matter what your orientation is. Just don't lie about it. And people understand that there are nuanced ways of being in relationships with other people.
And that's fair. I'm just not going to understand them all because they don't apply to me.
Yeah, and thank you for coming to Jeep Daddy's TED Talk.
And the best I can do is hold space for empathy and understanding, and that's about as much as I think I could do for myself.
Yeah, and that's
even though it's not going to be something I engage in. Personally.
Correct, and it's all anybody who is ethically non-monogamous would ask of anyone who is not, is to hold empathy for that and not judge or look down upon them for doing something wrong or whatever. Just that's how they want to live their life. Cool. Are they still a decent human? Yeah. Okay. So
Well,
maybe they're not a decent human
I would,
for other reasons, but
yes,
not
I
for
would
that one
posit in this
exclusively.
instance. I would posit in this instance with this individual, they may not
Yeah.
be a decent human.
Yeah. Anyway.
Just because of some things that I won't reveal here. But I have been told things about what they have tried to do, things they have tried to do professionally that aren't ethical, and some other things.
Fair.
And that's probably all I need to say about that one. But there was a response from New York Detractor #1, who responded to this person. And again, mentioning me specifically, saying, when he's a fraud, or excuse me, when he's a professional fraud in thought and deed, that's all people like him can offer. I mean, that's brilliant. Yes. Tell me more. Tell me more about how I'm a fraud. Can you use specifics, please? Give me specifics. We want specifics.
Yeah. Say more. Project more. Tell us all the things.
Tell us all the things. And that conversation carries on further down. And New York Detractor, responding to some other people, was saying, I was thinking, monomaniacs.
That's a first.
I know. I was thinking, monomaniacs can create multiple personalities. I'm not 100% since a lot of that is criminally offensive. I reserve myself from making such accusations. But bump. Having certain vehicles. Okay, I don't need that. That part's not important. I'll omit the next sentence or two because it references another individual who I've got nothing to do with. Further down the conversation, someone talks about all of this that they talk about. It just makes me feel sick to my stomach seeing this. God help us all. And the New York Detractor replies and says, I feel the same. And these pieces of garbage are allowed to use the internet. Awful.
Oh, no.
And then returning to Tennessee Detractor, the child who's, I think, maybe now legally able to drink. I think, if my mental math is correct. That Tennessee Detractor chimed in at one point. Get back here, Echoes, so we can bully you more, you jerk ass. It's kind of funny. This is the one who has a violent history. So let's talk more about process, about how people use the internet, what the internet reveals, because some of the posts by my detractors that are made publicly not only make references to legal actions that they don't define, and they go so far as to make intimations of subpoenaing records from social media.
That's cute. Please continue.
Yes, continue. Let me see. Where's a good place to pick this up? One person in this very long thread that's been kept active for about 2 years goes on to say, this is still a live post. I'm not providing you the link, chat, or anybody else. That'll stay between me and Jeep Daddy because you don't need to know some of these things quite so specifically. But this is still an active post. I actually checked it not last night. It was the night before, as I was getting some stuff for other social media posts ready today. I went back and just said, oh, it's still there. Oh, more than a year. It's still going strong. Stuff as recently as the last couple months. They just keep feeding me. They keep feeding me. If they consider me a troll, they should just delete it now. But I've got, it's too late. It's too late. You can't take it back. So someone else just, jumping into this thread who's made some other comments and opinions. They're entitled to make that. They're entitled to disagree with whatever they think is going on and side with whomever they want. That's their peril. They made the comment, oh, this is sickening. This somehow has to be stopped. And New York Detractor responded to this person and says, Facebook is a limp, crusty D. Well, that's a 4-letter word that starts with D. Use your imaginations, folk. Facebook is a limp, crusty D when it comes to the drab that floats in this particular sewer of a group and the individuals that involve it. Last time, we had to go direct to Meta for any traction. The comments about mortality alone is a federal crime. Predicting deaths is a death threat. But we have the kitchen cooking. IP addresses attained through subpoena have been helpful.
Okay, cool story, bro.
Okay, cool story, bro. So let's talk about moving things along. That gives you some flavor of the type of things people are saying about me. I could talk about the other accusations that are made about me. I think you get the gist. Where people falsely attribute me to any number of other people, anything from anonymous accounts to sock accounts to whatever else. But let me leave you with a little bit more physical, intimidating thought, because they've sent some physically intimidating thoughts, and why when Jeep Daddy and I talked about fun at the shooting range, there was a reason behind that. And it comes from comments like these, where the New York detractor started by saying, may they have sand in their sheets. And another detractor, who right now will go unidentified, saying, I was thinking of something else than sand. And then the New York detractor responds and says, or feet first into a wood chipper. And then someone else says, may they always get pegged by cacti. So when we start making physical threats, that kind of escalates some things, don't you think?
Just a skosh.
Just a teensy weensy little bit. So out of an abundance of caution, I did get over some trepidations I have about the Second Amendment. That's the right one, right? Yes. Second Amendment, and exploring what may be necessary to protect me. As I think any sane American might in this day and age, who've been targeted by people trying to do seemingly nefarious things to them, right? So where I want to go next is, what kinds of things do people go and get from social media? How you can protect yourself, and smart ways in which you can be safer on the internet. Now, again, I say that because you never know where crazy is going to come from. You could be having a perfectly normal conversation, and some lunatic on social media, either someone you're talking to or someone who just inserts themselves, decides to go full Karen or for psycho loony and starts doxing you, all your places of work, your phone number, your address, and anything else they can find about you. So while I could advertise for various identity services, which do not sponsor this channel, there are many out there. You could try them. I don't know how well they work. Can you opine on that, Mr. InfoSec?
Oh, of course.
Please do.
I have quite the soapbox to get on for this.
Ooh, see, that's why I wanted to just kind of roll it all in one big ball.
Yes.
I know it's taken 2.5 hours, but here we are.
I mean, that's how
what we do. That's how we roll.
Do. Yeah. So, I mean, I think the first and really most obvious thing to do is just don't volunteer that information to begin with. Because anything that you are putting, anything you got to think about for a hot second here. If you go to Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn or MySpace, yes, MySpace is still active, whatever, I'm old, shut the fuck up. There's all of these sites that you can put your personal information on.
No, I'm not Greg.
But which Greg?
Greg Gillespie, I'm sure. Because Laura Owens accused everything of being Greg. Greg is hacking me. Greg sent this fake email. Greg did this. Greg did that. See, there are parallels here to my own predicaments, right?
That is kind of, it's kind of like, it's over here.
It's like all my detractors saying, everything is echoes. Everything is echoes. Go get them. Yep. Get out the tar and pitchforks and feathers.
Yeah, exactly. So
please.
I think the first thing is to be judicious about what you put onto these other sites, because once you put something on somebody else's website, you have lost control of that bit of information.
Or someone else's email. The second it leaves your the four corners of your walls, it's no longer yours. I just want to say that because I would have no compunction sharing these emails, even on stream, if I had more time to redact them, of things that could be identifying that I don't want out there.
Right. And
I have no problem sharing what people send me. And I've made that not a thread. It's not a thread. It's a promise. You send me shit, I'm going to share it. It's just that simple.
And the reason, as best I understand it, why Echoes is not doing that is to protect himself and his own world, not protecting the accusers, the these detractors. It's not about that at all. It's very much about protecting himself, and it's a really, really smart move to do that. So, like when you're interacting and responding with posts and things, just be hyper aware of not putting these things, or too much information out. So, like Facebook offers, if you go into your profile on Facebook, assuming you have a Facebook, and you look at all of the options that they actually offer you to put in, like they say, okay, put in all of your family. Oh, what's their relation to you? Is that your mom? Is that your brother? Is that your
Everything. You're
cousin?
doxing
Is that
yourself.
like, and beyond that, what's the visibility of that to other people? So like the mistakes that some of these people are making here is they are not restricting who can see it.
Yeah.
Facebook does have,
And who can
for better
mine that
or worse,
information?
has that information about like and who can actually see it from a public perspective, or who's a friend or a friend of a friend. Like there are ways like to restrict those sorts of things. But like the first thing, if you're really like concerned about just making sure that your information is protected, is just don't put it out there. And then that's the stuff that you have control over. It's like you share judiciously, you make sure that there's not a bunch of metadata on your photos when you post them to Instagram, all of that fun stuff, right? So just be smart and thoughtful about what you post and when you or where and all that fun stuff.
And
There is a
remember
certain,
that when you hit the send button, it's out of your control.
once it's sent, it's done. And it's outside, like that can get screenshotted or copied or shared somewhere else. So just again, you have to be thoughtful about those things. Other things is like if there's untrustworthy websites, don't give them your real email address. Go find like, as much as like Echo's just got done like railing against one of these accusers of using Apple Relay, there are some legit and worthy uses of that, of like using one of those email addresses that is not your attached email, but will forward that information to there. So like if Facebook, I'm just going to shit on Facebook basically all night because they're a piece of
By all
shit.
means.
So like they like you don't actually give them like the site your actual email address. You're giving them this, like you know uh, entropy underscore 128675309 at icloud.com, and that will forward it to your real one, but like that's not actually going to sit with the fake one will sit with the company and not reveal like Jeep Daddy at iCloud.com. That's not a real address. Don't fucking send anything there because I won't see it.
You don't want fan mail?
I want fan
You
mail,
don't
but
want
that's just
people obsessed with you?
that's a fake ass email address. So
Oh, it doesn't
have fun,
exist.
go mad. It does not exist. Sorry. And so like, and then it's just like if you're in discourse with folks, like I'm all about people being authentic and they're like using your actual names. So like just be sure that you're like saying things online, whether it is on Facebook or Twitter, X, whatever, or Blue Sky, or these other things. Just make sure, in my opinion, just make sure that that's a same thing that you would say in person to somebody that you're face to face with. It's really easy to become a keyboard warrior and say all sorts of crap that you probably wouldn't say in a social setting or in a one-on-one setting to somebody else. But that will, if you kind of take the perspective of I'm going to not just rant and say horrid things, and particularly in writing, because I mean, hello, um, on another site that you don't own, just FYI. So there's also
Mm-hmm.
that. Just don't, if you aren't willing to stand behind the statements and the things that you're going to say or type and
Don't
post
say
in
them.
person, don't fucking say
Don't
it.
say them.
Like
Yep.
actually like have a little bit of integrity of the shit that
Yes.
you're going to say and stand behind your name. Yes,
Yeah.
I understand there is a reason why, and there's a method to use anonymous posts on Facebook groups, or like, yes, I have a second Facebook account that has nothing to do with my primary identity. It is hardly touched. It is only for research purposes, and I don't ever like use what the information that I see there in my main or in other spots. It's literally just as a validation check of like, is my shit broken, and trying something different. So
Oh, experimental.
yes, it's
Interesting.
literally just for research and
Very
for
interesting.
education. So, I mean, it's one of the reasons why I don't just rely on one phone or one laptop. I'll have a second one just to see, like, oh, YouTube's having a real hard time loading up tonight. Let me check my other device and see if it's also having a problem. And that will help me understand, is it my computer or is it my network? And it's the same thing. But also, like, if you have like in different identity, or like if you have an alter ego that, like, you want something that's not quite attached to your main, that might be, you know, a little untoward or red light district, if you will. It's very common to have a separate account for that sort of thing. That's totally fine, as long as those streams don't cross, and you don't, like, you have got it. You get that just takes extra effort. It's extra risk, but keeping some of those walls separate. Another thing that I do in my own life is I keep all of my work stuff extraordinarily separate. And there's some pretty hard walls between those things. I look at it as separation of church and state for those US constitutionalists. So
But
I will not
separation of
use,
work and pleasure? I mean, what's
yes,
the equivalent here? Okay.
yeah, it basically is. So, like, I will not, 'cause I like my personal email accounts, this YouTube channel, all of that stuff, my, healthcare accounts. I won't access those things on my work devices. I won't sign into those things on my main corporate accounts, because I don't want to introduce other people or other vectors of potential risk and compromise to bleed over into those other things. So it's it, there are, and I mean, to the point of, like, what Batty just said about, like, the whole, like, Australia and, like, kids and ID checks and that sort of stuff.
Mm.
I have a litany of problems with all of these controls, because it has literally nothing to do with kids. Let's just be real, okay? Like, that has nothing to do with protecting the children. That's something that politicians hide behind to have a more authoritarian and a more surveillance-based state. That's proven out with a lot of reporting from other people. But that aside, because that could be an entire hour-long episode of unpacking all of that, making sure, like, just keep that stuff logically separated, and again, just don't post anything to third party sites, which is for us as normal peon, like, users of the internet. That means Facebook and Instagram. If you don't want some
All of
photo
the
of you
things.
shared, don't fucking post it to Instagram. It's
Yeah.
that simple. Don't
Yeah.
rely on a story that's going to expire in 24 hours, because it's not. It's always going to be there. You upload it, it's always there. When you delete something from Facebook or from Instagram or Blue Sky, it's never gone. The only thing that happens is a flag in the background that says, is visible, true or false. That's all it
It's a one
is.
or a zero.
That's it's You have sent that photo or that block of text to that company's servers.
And there it
That's
shall
it.
live forever.
And it will live literally forever. So, just, if it's something risky, don't do it. Keep that
Wise
shit
words.
private.
Wise words.
Trust the people. Like, I will make no shame that I'm an Apple fanboy, and it's for good reason, is because that ecosystem has privacy built into it. So when I'm texting Echoes, I have a mechanism that when my texts are with him and his back to mine, that we have verification that I'm actually talking to the person that I think I'm talking to.
Not some imposter.
Not some other person that is claiming to be Sir Echoes.
Well, until you get some weird anonymous email from Laura Owens. I'm going to sue you for talking about me.
Yeah. It's like, and I mean, to kind of tie it a little bit back into that stuff, it's like all the stuff that Echoes and I have talked about, Echoes way more than me, but, like, all the dipshit dingus stuff.
Dingus
that
the
he's-
douche canoe.
The
Yay!
fucking douche canoe.
all
Hey,
that
he made an
shit that
appearance.
all of that shit that he's posted on his blog, stupid, dumb, don't do that. But
It's archived.
at least he posted it on his own website rather than Medium. But it's still stupid. Don't fucking do that. Secondly, Laura Owens and her Medium blog and whatever this new thing is that she's trying to do and all of that. Like, really fucking stupid because that's just out in the public. And there are web crawlers out there searching for all of that shit. Google is
Uh-huh.
constantly scraping the internet for all of that data and that information so that it optimizes the search engine, which is complete and utter crap. Just don't fucking do it. And yes, Batty, that is absolutely correct. Everything can be screen captured. So
Case
literally
in
never
point.
post anything. Yeah.
Case in
That's
point.
how.
And people have
that's-
tried to use that against me.
Yes.
They have tried.
And-
They have not succeeded. Oh, I shouldn't say that. They've tried. We'll just leave it at that.
They have tried. So it's just a matter of being savvy about those things. And Echoes mentioned earlier about like the privacy, like services and stuff like that to like remove. Because like,
I want to add to that
yeah, go for
because I had discovered that some of the privacy settings, even on Facebook, are not as private as you think.
it. Correct.
Because what I thought with some of my stuff that revealed at the time, places where I work, education I have had, and that sort of thing,
Yes.
despite being set to private and only me, still appeared in a private group to everybody.
Yeah.
And I
'Cause
believe
there's
that
certain
gave
pieces of
fodder.
that data. Yeah.
Well, I don't know why groups are set up that way so that if you've got private stuff on your end, people can still see it in a private group. That doesn't make sense to me. But I learned from some of this that don't have that information at all. Because you put something in that box, it's going to be visible, even if it's set to only me and only private. And so I think they use that to find my second place of employment to try and go get me there.
Yeah. So like the
It took
key
me a
is
while
it's
to
just
figure out where did they find this other than Google, which
Yeah.
I mean, that's also there too. But
Correct.
someone told me, "Oh, did you know that it?" And this came out after Washington D.C. Detractor made mention of that. Well, it's posted on his profile where he works, so of course I'm going to come tell you.
Oh, I remember you asked me about like, hey, what can you see on my profile, sort of stuff, and like I remember unpacking that.
It took a lot of figuring out that, despite the settings I had,
Yeah.
that was appearing in the membership logs
Yep.
of a group.
So look, there's
I couldn't. I wanted to sue
Yeah.
Facebook.
yeah. So there's literally zero reason at all why you should ever put things like your employment or your phone numbers or email addresses or addresses.
Yeah,
There's
you know.
literally no reason why to do that. Like I don't. Okay, I'll just say I do not live in the city of Seattle, but because Seattle is the closest major metropolitan area to where I am,
That's where you.
put I will put
It's like
that
saying I live in New
Seattle,
York City,
Washington.
even
Right.
if you live in Manhattan,
Right.
Or, I
In
don't know,
Manhattan or in Brooklyn or
Brooklyn
whatever.
or any of the other
Like,
places. Yeah,
any of those burbs, right? Or Hell's Kitchen. Because like
Health Kitchen.
Health Kitchen. Like I won't go that specific, but like because it keeps me pseudo anonymous, or at least not specific to the point that somebody could start dropping in search terms and looking at Google or other like people search type stuff around that. So again, it really just boils down to don't volunteer the information in that. If you have already put that into your Facebook profiles or wherever, go in and just delete it. No, don't make it private. Don't say that it's just for you. Go in and actually just delete
Scrub
the
it.
line.
Yep, and that's
And-
what
and
I
if
did.
it's
I
that-
took all of it out.
And
All of
honestly,
it.
if it's that bad, then really, like, had I had this all to do again, because I've been a member of Facebook for a very long time,
Since the beginning here, the very beginning.
almost the beginning. I wasn't quite that early on
I was
it, but like,
I was in college. I was in
Yeah,
college
and-
the day it was invented and it
Yeah.
hit the internet, and we were like, "Oh,
Yeah.
look, we can
Yeah, look at
talk
this.
to each other on this thing. That's cool."
exactly.
And not keeping track of the internet evolving, I just left that
Yeah.
stuff in there all these years.
Yeah, because we were
Even when they
naive and
did a
innocent.
big changeover in what was it, 2007 or 8, they still
Yeah.
had. I mean, it only
and-
says I've been a member so long, but
Right. And like I think
I've been
mine's
part
all
of
the
it
way
since
back
the
to
beginning.
like the early 2010s, I think, is when I joined up. And like
you're late.
I am because I'm
No,
skeptical
usually
as
I'm
fuck
the late
about all the
bloomer.
things. But like had I to do this all over again, honestly, what I would do is I would have had my main profile page as me, as my actual identity, and then done a vast majority of all of my public posts or thoughts or anything like that on a page and not my profile. And I would have kept my profile to my inner ring of inner circle of friends, such
Mm-hmm.
as Echoes and my family and all of that, but
And
not
etc.
just friending coworkers and people I had known back in the day when I was active in the church or my military friends or something. Like I would have made a public persona that wasn't
Mm-hmm.
fake, but it was 1 degree separated from all of that really core personal data that I
There you
would have
go.
put on there.
Sure.
Um,
It's like everyone
it's
needs multiple profiles, don't they?
I think they do, but it's not a matter of profiles. It's a matter of just keeping like the pages or the things just 1 degree separated from that, around like what's your actual like true trusted identity, because people are using these things in a nefarious way. It's like we have to be nowadays, we have to be
You have to
smarter
be.
because it's
Yeah.
not 2012 anymore. It's not 2008 anymore.
Time to
This is
catch up,
something
folks.
we have so much evidence and so much reporting out there about how Facebook and other social media companies they're not here for a benevolent action. They are here to make money. And we aren't the consumers. You and I and Echoes and everybody else, we are not Facebook's customer. Let be very, very, very clear about that. We are
Mm.
not. The customer is the people who are buying ads. We are the fuel that makes the site worthwhile to the companies who are out there buying and organizations who are out there buying advertising space.
The grist for the mill.
So we are literally just the firewood that keeps that going. And the moment that we become irrelevant, they will stop giving a fuck about us. But
Mm.
that's the thing. Zooming way out beyond social media and all that stuff, you have to think about that from free services that you have as well. Gmail, Google, all of that stuff. You have to think about that as well because it's a free service. Nothing
Mm-hmm.
in this world is free. So if you aren't paying for the service or the product, then you are the product. Okay? Just be real clear about that. And they will continue to like siphon all of that data that you give them in your emails, your chat, your Google Meet chats, your calendar, all of that shit. Google is not this benevolent entity that's out there to just, oh, we're going to give you some email and a calendar. No, they are 1,000% using all that data to sell ads on google.com. When you put in cheap flights from Vancouver, that they're just using all that information to sling you an ad. So point is from this epic Jeep Daddy rant that apparently like was
You're doing well.
yeah, be very cautious about what you put on there. I would suggest represent yourself authentically as far as what you would say in like online. You should also be willing to say in person to that same individual. And honestly, look at some of those data aggregation sites that like again, not sponsored, whatever, but like the Delete Me's, the Experian as a product out there.
Oh
These
my
these
God.
types
Some
of
of those are a pain to deal with,
they are, but honestly,
but you got
like
to do it pretty
you have to
regularly
do
too.
it because like every single month I get a report from my service that I pay for. You have to like there's always 9 or 10 every single month. And it's like, how the fuck is that even possible? Like, didn't you just get done with like 20 pages worth of shit over the last like 6, 7 months? It comes back.
It's a
So
recurring disease on the
it is a
internet.
recurring thing because data is king and data is dollars. And like, yeah, you just the term like, like using like I'm going to go Google something like, yeah, it's become so synonymous because they were a powerhouse and once upon a time they had an ethos around don't be evil, and their goal was to get you off their site as quickly as possible, right? They wanted like if you wanted to find out about bats in middle Africa that live in caves, you could type those searches in, and like their goal was to bring you that first link that was going to get you to the information that you wanted. And now if you pay close attention to the search results that you have, the first 3 to 5 at the very top of that is probably going to be advertisements. I can't tell you how many passwords I've had to change with my family because they typed in, I don't know, Delta Airlines at the top, and they got some cheap flights from Delta, like, and they did not pay attention to that little tag at the end that said ad. It was not Delta's site, and they handed over their username and their password to this fake fucking company. You have to be vigilant about that shit. And that includes all of this stuff about data and about what you share, your employers, all of that crap. I put a lot more detail onto my LinkedIn than I do to others because it is a vessel for employment opportunities, but it's not innocent by any stretch.
Not using it for dating, as maybe Laura Michelle Owens used it to target people.
That's not exactly what that platform was meant for.
You know, go finding high profile wealthy people to target and trying to coerce relationships out of, like Laura did.
Maybe
Apparently,
I need to try a different dating strategy.
I've heard LinkedIn dating is a thing.
I guess, but
Oh.
yeah, the term. I thank you so much, Wallace. Enshittification. Swear to God,
I
that
like
should
that.
be
That's
the word. That it's a real thing. I'll go find the Wikipedia link and put it in there. There's a whole article on it. I wish I could have come up with that term. Somebody smarter than me did, but it is a legitimate thing that happens to these sites and to these platforms and services that start off with some altruistic purposes. I don't believe Facebook started with altruistic purpose. I think that was Mark Zuckerberg being a fucking creeper. But
Ew.
yeah, you is right, because who'd want to see that naked? I like to see all sorts of dick, and I don't want to.
Stop.
Yeah,
Stop.
you want to see that?
Stop.
Ew. No,
Stop.
I
No,
won't. No,
don't want it.
I won't.
Stop.
Okay.
Good God.
You're welcome. That's your cost. That's my fee.
I need to
for bringing me
bleach
on
my
here.
brain.
Yeah, you're welcome. But that's the thing, is like a lot of these sites start off with these altruistic purposes type stuff, and then because they become like beholden to the great the devil of advertising dollars and venture capitalists, growth becomes a thing, and then you become this like, how are we going to just do more, and how are we going to do more? And enshittification comes in because it's cheaper just to make a site shittier and shittier and shittier. So if you know who I am on Facebook, Batty, but poke me. Do it.
It's an invitation and a solicitation all at the same time. Oh, that's terrible. Ding.
You won't see shit on my profile, theoretically. But
theoretically.
By all means,
yeah.
Please. So anyway, that's my rant.
That's your rant. It was a very good rant.
Maybe at some point in the future, I will have an actual like business construct of where I can apply my information security and privacy skills, including incident response when something goes wrong, of how people can clean up the mess and the broken glass and maybe reinforce said window and or a little bit more. So I don't know. We'll see. We shall see.
That's marvelous. And some final thoughts to round off the evening, because I actually had some things pulled up, ready to go. We just didn't get there till the end. And this great thing talking about how things are used on social media, how your information is used, and how people try to get your information, be they through law enforcement, legal, or other channels. Many social media sites contain information about that. And since my detractors primarily, but not exclusively, have involved Facebook and Meta products and made representations that they sought subpoenas for IP addresses for perhaps people like myself or perhaps some others. Meta has some statements, and most social media, again, does have statements about how they do things. You can look these up on whatever platforms you choose to use. This is what Meta had stated. Because when someone goes around saying that they're sending things to unnamed lawyers they most likely have not retained, and that they're getting IP addresses and personal information about users, claiming they have subpoenas, which may or may not exist, there are ways to know about that. And in the case of Meta, they talk about that to some extent. And this is from the meta.com/safety/community/law/guidelines. And this gave me, I won't say it gave me comfort, but it gave me something to be aware of when I've got people trying to come after me and they're saying, well, I've got your IP and this, that, and the other. And it comes from a notification. And it says, our policy is to notify people who use our service of requests for their information prior to disclosure, unless we are prohibited by law from doing so or in exceptional circumstances, such as child exploitation cases, emergencies, or when notice would be counterproductive. That's a fairly narrow, but it's not so narrow that it would be exclusive, but I think you understand where they're getting. We will also provide delayed notice upon expiration of a specific non-disclosure period in a court order, and where we have good faith belief that exceptional circumstances no longer exist and we are not otherwise prohibited by law from doing so. Law enforcement officials who believe that notification would jeopardize an investigation should obtain an appropriate court order or other appropriate process establishing that notice is prohibited. If your data request draws attention to an ongoing violation of our terms of use, we will take action to prevent further abuse, including actions that may notify the user that we are aware of their misconduct. So in all of the crap that happened with my detractors, not once did I ever receive any notifications from Meta that any of my information was ever being sought by my detractors. Now, it's possible they were trying to get someone else's information and I just don't know about it. But as it pertains to me, no such thing ever presented itself to me as a user of the platform. So it brings into question, is all of it just a bunch of bullshit? Probably. All of the claims that things are being sent to attorneys, that we've got IP addresses and it proves things, probably bullshit. So it's good to know some of the mechanisms of how things get used on the platforms you use.
Yes.
That's just an example. Most of the major platforms, I did a quick search. I did have some stuff for Reddit that I had pulled up. I even had some stuff for YouTube I had pulled up. We don't need to touch on that. It just behooves anyone on social media this day and age to know how things work. And to know if there are people trying to get information out of you, what the legal channels are that you need to be aware of. And I don't say that so that you can run around doing questionable things on the internet, but knowledge is power and it's important to know how things work. So when people try and target you, as my detractors have me, and have made lots of representations that I believe to be false, not only about me, but who I work for and what I do. And they claim that they have evidence through various means they claim through the platforms. I have some recourse. And I have not only some defense, but I have legal recourse. And when things like this can turn into a case, which it may or may not, we'll see. That depends on them. It gives me more avenues for litigation.
Yeah, it is important to reinforce that some random person cannot extract connectivity logs or login information, which is where like an IP address would be paired with
a user
somebody's
account.
credentials or their account. Like you can see that on your own account, but you can't just like, I can't go and just be like,
I can't
hey,
just send
Facebook,
an email
I
to
want
Meta and
Echoes
say I
like
want
things.
this.
Yeah, no, that's not how this works. That said, this is all held in the private space within the mechanisms of these companies, and they've been putting on more and more AI tools to do moderation. Broadly speaking, I trust them about as far as I can throw my Jeep, and that's not very far to be honest, because it's really fucking heavy. But no, I just that's not. I don't buy into it. Do not buy into those
Yeah.
those claims that
It's
somebody
almost
on
like
a
a
Facebook
phishing
thing.
scam. It's like a weird reverse psychology phishing
It's
scam.
intimidation.
Yeah. Well,
It's
fundamentally,
just
yes.
it's fundamentally intimidation because there's no information that they would have to validate. Like even if you looked at your own IP address and was like, "Oh yeah, I guess I did log in at that time," like that, and they have nothing on their side to say that like, "Oh yeah, 50 dot whatever went and did this thing." No, that's false. It's the
Hmm.
same coercion tactics to draw this back, I think, to LO and that whole thing. It's a coercion tactic to try and fear somebody into doing a thing like the whole faking the pregnancy thing, or like here's a sonogram that's been edited and like I'm going to try and bribe you, and thank the gods that Clayton had enough fortitude to stand up to the bullshit and have it proved in a
Yeah.
court of law that it was not true. Some people would not, and they would just roll over and just be like, "Oh, I guess you have me. I guess I did get you pregnant. Here's $200,000." Like,
I'll settle. Well, and that's
yeah,
what they're trying to do with the Hales case too.
yeah,
All of those people in a whole county full of,
yep,
there's even things of corruption coming up with the county. I mean, it's just extraordinary.
yep,
But all of them started as, well, he'll just settle. He'll want this to go away, so he'll write a check
right,
for millions of dollars, and we'll all get rich off of it. That's how his started.
exactly. Yeah.
Just people
And
trying to
this is a
exploit him.
grift. This is
Yeah.
this is the grift. It seems so common, honestly. Like, and I mean that in the most derogatory term possible. So common for Laura Owens, her mom, and maybe even Ron to like go and run this playbook. Like, I just I'm there's a level of disappointment there of like, why couldn't you have been more creative? Like I don't know. I feel like they could have done so much better, and yet here they are just being basic fucking bitches.
Yes. Oh, so let's see. Batty says maybe they sought all the info from people they thought were you, but weren't, so you wouldn't know. Not impossible, but I think I
Yeah,
would have heard something about that in the end. And at one
probably.
point, I did reveal that conversations about them claiming to get subpoenas and IP addresses and
Hmm.
login credentials from Meta. I did share that with, I think, an entire group of people to say this is what they're saying.
Yeah,
If any of you are targeted and want to talk about it, by all means, let's have a conversation.
yeah.
But I mean, I have other profiles that I use on Facebook for other things, for work stuff, and for well, I even think I have one for this channel that I've really never used. But so what? So what? I mean, you.
But these aren't
Now,
the channels that they're claiming that you're making
yeah,
these posts on. These
yeah,
are
and it
other
wasn't the
named
people either. It wasn't the
actual
people either.
profiles, not pages. It's really easy to determine what's a profile and what's a page. And
Yes,
they're saying that other profiles that you actually are controlling, and the only
right,
ones
and that
I
I'm an
know of that you
administrator of some of
have,
these pages. So
I
it's
just
like because it was another profile they thought was me.
yeah,
It's just insane.
it's absolutely ridiculous, and they're just grasping at straws to try and
Yes,
tarnish Echoes' name
sure.
and impact his employment. That's
Yep.
really what this boils down to, and it's again, it's a very similar playbook to what
Mm-hmm.
the grifters of the Owens family have been doing. There's
Mm-hmm.
so many parallels in a lot of
I
those
know. See,
ways.
I thought you would like some of that. See,
It is
I'm not
it is
totally
del-
off my rocker here.
it's
I had an agenda. I'll
it's as
admit it.
it's as delicious as this bourbon has been.
It's delicious as the bourbon. And again, to reinforce, not just anybody can go and get stuff from any social media. And as we have okay, I'm done. I am done. As we learned with David Gingras, who is trying to expose a number of private profiles on Reddit and YouTube, and had some success when other YouTubers responded to his baiting tactics by filing bar complaints. That's why I didn't bite on that one, is because if I do that, then I knew he would get all of my information from the bar. And I didn't want to give him the opportunity to try and do shit to me himself. So David Gingras lost out on that opportunity, but he got somebody else. We've talked about them. They've talked about it on their own channel. I love Ducky. Ducky's great. She's just a funny lady.
Hmm.
And Ducky talks about how David Gingras got her and doxed her on his own company page. So it just goes to show you that even when you try to do the right thing, somehow these people can twist it and
Yep.
weaponize it. So you have to be so careful.
Yep.
And 10, if not 20 steps ahead of them on how could they use this.
Yeah.
And again, it requires, for social media, as the final thought, you have to go through legal channels to get people's information. You have to have a court case. There has to be a court-signed subpoena and or warrant and or both, depending on the legal requirements.
Yep.
You can't just be a lawyer saying, Meta, give me the goods. I've got and David tried to do that. He got some blanket subpoena from a court and tried to get a Redditor's information. And it was, I think he was turned away. I believe Reddit shut him down.
Good. And like, if you have things to get out, like if you want to vent, there are ways to do that. Just use notes, use a journal, use a text editor, type it out on your computer, not on Facebook.
Yeah.
Rant there. Because like, just don't get it out of your system. I love that. I am terrible at journaling.
I'm horrific.
Just don't word vomit.
Be mindful, be careful.
On groups, on your profiles. Don't do that. Don't do that. Use AI to sanitize that shit if you need to, if that's a helpful way to do that.
That's what you need to do to protect yourself a little bit.
Yeah, but if you need, like, if it's just like you can't sleep at night because you need to get all this shit out, fucking dump it into an Apple Notes thing or into Journal or OneNote or text, Notepad, something. Just don't, for the love of all that is holy, don't fucking put that up on Facebook.
Yeah.
Please don't do that.
I may be slightly guilty of such things, but
Same. How much shit I've deleted off my Facebook account in the last, or deleted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeep Daddy really telling us to get a journal at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
On a New Year's Day. Or your regional equivalent.
Or
yes.
I don't know, if you use a Mac, there's a journal
Coast.
there's a journal app on your phones or on your Mac if that's more suitable.
So as closing thoughts, do you have any closing thoughts or have you said enough?
Just don't do dumb shit.
Just be careful in this New Year's. Be careful what you think. Well, you can think whatever you want, right? There aren't thought police. Many of us have thought things we wouldn't want to get out of our heads. That's the human condition.
Yeah, I guess my
but be careful not to telegraph them.
Yeah, I think my final thought would actually be yes. Express your feelings. Express your thoughts. The First Amendment is real. That is freedom of expression. It is not freedom of consequence. Freedom from consequence, I should say. So be smart about where you express your opinions and do it, but do it smartly.
There you go. I don't think I could say any more than that. And maybe I shouldn't. So we could leave it there. Other than if you do need to enter the court system to deal with people, God, is it expensive. And that will be another rant for another day. Because I know what it could cost me to go after my detractors. And that number is disappointing.
Disappointing, huh?
Disappointing.
Well, the amount you could get from some of these detractors is probably the more disappointing number.
I think should something be proven in a criminal court, I think, and unlike Laura Owens, and again, it's my opinion, Laura Owens is not going to take a plea deal, but she could surprise us. I don't think these guys would actually see something to a trial. If they had it hung over their heads and their feet to the fire, I think they would all take plea deals.
They're weak, pathetic
I would
little
still want
cuck bitches.
fees and costs. I would still want
course.
fees and costs.
But
because I want my lawyer to get their due for having to deal with their bullshit that they decided to engage in.
They're weak. They are weak, pathetic humans who have nothing better to do but to go be trolls on the internet and try and destroy somebody else's life because their own life is so fucking
think they're special,
right? Because their own
think
life
they
is
are
so fucking
entitled
miserable.
And will be protected by the systems of power. I didn't even talk about the parallel sex scandals that ran in some of these circles.
Well, that's another.
But I don't think I want
to.
Yes, it's another 3-hour episode. I was going to try and weave some of that in because that's why I talk about some of these things publicly and why they don't like me. To get back to, I think it was maybe Batty's earlier comments about you must, what was it? Oh, I'm not going to find it quickly. They must think I'm a threat. And it's because I know things about some of the individuals because they've attacked me in what I believe to be criminal ways. Mm-hmm. And when you run in those same sort of circles, that can leave impressions. And it could cause people to think things about all the people involved in those circles, especially when it involves people who've been fired or let go from professorships for Title IX sexual harassment violations, and commingle and share space, physical business space, with other people known to be predators and we'll just say sexual predators. So there's a
much
whole
to
other
discuss
nuance
there.
to the detractors that we didn't quite touch on in great thoroughness, but I think you can get some ideas that there's reasons they're coming after me. And I think if those reasons were to get out, it could be bad news for them. All of them, from top down.
Based on the
So they
little
thought,
I've seen, I totally agree with that.
They thought spanking me and trying to threaten me and get me to lose my job would shut me up. And how are they doing? Did they shut me up for the last 3 hours and 4 minutes according to the Stream Deck clock? No, they have not. There we go. So thank you, sir, for your expertise in this arena and in matters of internet safety.
Absolutely.
We can always count on you on that, if not your indelible snark.
Oh, well, it's all mixed in together.
Yes. And Create Sitter Connect says, I don't even have Facebook. That's wise.
Good job.
I'm guilty. I'm guilty of having Facebook
Same.
for way too long. But I still connect to some people there, so it's become a necessary
Yeah,
evil.
some of my hobbies and things just kind of
Become
rely
a
way too
necessary
heavily on Facebook. So unfortunately,
Yeah.
it would be social suicide if I were to delete mine. But I just
It wouldn't be for me, and actually all of my detractors would probably sing "Ding Dong, the bitch is dead" if I were to leave. So if anything,
Yeah.
it keeps me there. They want me gone.
they would still levy the accusation that you're still there under all those
I know.
pseudonyms.
Of
that
course.
you know.
Of course. And even with other people talking about the same things, which shows that they have more enemies than just me. They will never be satisfied, and that's their problem.
Correct.
You can't fix other people's problems. Just deal with your own. Play the hand you're dealt with. Be smart. Don't do stupid things on the internet. And carry on. Carry on with life. And I don't know. Insert philosophical statement of positivity here.
Oh,
Insert in the line.
All right. Well, with that,
With that
I'll
notion,
deep wave
thank you
everybody
everybody
out.
thank you all for indulging my sort of personal moment. But, I thought it would be interesting because I do drop the kernels from time to time. And some people ask questions, some people give positive and encouraging statements and comments like Jack Fox of Never True or Word did on last night's stream, which prompted me to say, you know what? Let's not live in fear of talking about things that are somewhat related to what we talk about on this channel, being primarily Laura Owens at the present, but that will pivot someday. So why not share tales of my own woe and how they relate and what we can do to be smart about life and the internet, or life on the internet, and just smart things to do.
I mean, I could have an,
So
I
there
could
you
have
have
an
it.
entire channel about how to live
could.
smartly on the internet. But yeah,
I'm sure there are. And if there aren't, sir, you need to jump on that one quickly.
like I said, I got them
You're working on it.
ideas
Okay.
kicking around in this pretty little noggin of mine.
Stewing in the percolating crock pot of your mind.
Yes.
Marvelous.
Yes.
Marvelous. All right, everybody. On that note, I hope you've had a great New Year's Day. Hope you have a great year ahead of you. And the weekend coming up real soon, even though I have to work tomorrow. Boo. But Saturday's quick. We'll get to Saturday quickly, and it'll be fine.
It will.
So there you go. That's your little tidbits for little insights behind the curtains of the cubbyhole. And on that note, I will leave you with all that, and you can percolate your own lives and your own processes for when crazy people may come after you too, because that is the world in which we live. But what can you do about it other than speak softly and carry a big stick?
Sure.
I don't know.
Or
I'm just pulling out a history
an
lesson
axe.
there.
Or,
Well,
chainsaws, whatever.
Objects of personal destruction at your own risk. All right, everyone. Good night, and we'll see you next time with more Laura Owens. There are more articles to cover. We have 2 or 3 left in the stupid website that she seems to be hosting. And there may be more. We'll see if she produces more or if this is a limited run. Who knows?
Who
But
knows?
if there's more, we'll cover it. And you know it, we'll be here as well as some of our good friends in this creation space. So until then, everybody, good night.
Bye.